Chapter 2668. Book 1. Chapter 113. As the Qin Empire digested the Aeolian Empire, it strengthened its defenses to prevent sudden attacks from other countries. The Pantheon Temple and Yellow Springs were also rapidly expanding. The development of the alchemy world slowed down because it was near a few major factions. Finally, in the card world, Tina Pendragon nurtured elemental knights with all her might, causing the number of elemental knights to reach a certain level. The Two-Way Kingdom was developing even faster and had already controlled 2 worlds' worth of territory. Adding on the territory controlled by Qin, there were 4 worlds' worth of territory under their control. There were many countries in the card world, but they were unable to resist these 2 terrifying factions. Compared to the cruel Two-Way Kingdom, the people of the card world preferred Qin Kingdom. As long as the Qin Kingdom surrendered, they would not be enslaved. The rapid development of the 2 factions attracted the attention of the surrounding powerful factions. One of them was the Dragon Kingdom that Zhao Fu had been wary of. The Dragon Kingdom controlled the card land that Zhao Fu was interested in. It had shocking wealth and terrifying strength. Its basic force was staged 2 soldiers and 40 million dragon cavalry soldiers. A few 100,000 dragon cavalry soldiers could cause massive destruction, and 40 million dragon cavalry soldiers could sweep the battlefield. Bang! 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 Countless boulders fell from the sky, sending the card world soldiers flying like raindrops. Some were even smashed to death by the boulders. The Two-Way Kingdom's general roared, and countless tall Two-Way people rushed toward the city wall. They easily climbed up the city wall and ferociously attacked the card world soldiers above. An Eat-a-Tail soldier swept his arm and pushed several card world soldiers off the wall. An Eat-a-Tail soldier slammed into several card world soldiers and sent them flying. An Eat-a-Tail soldier raised his arm and smashed down, killing a card world soldier. The card world soldiers looked terrified and continuously retreated. They were not a match for these Two-Way people at all. An hour later, the Two-Way people had taken over the city wall. The Two-Way general continued to give orders to attack, killing all who resisted and selling those who surrendered as slaves. All sorts of treasures and resources were plundered. The Two-Way Kingdom had easily conquered another small kingdom in the card world. They could obtain many benefits from this kingdom, and the people of the Two-Way Kingdom all smiled. Inside the Dragon Kingdom's palace, a valiant young man knelt on one knee and said, "Your Majesty, are you just going to watch as our card world's people are killed and humiliated by the heaven-awakened world's people?" There was a purple-haired woman wearing dragon-shaped armor sitting on a violet throne. She was peerlessly beautiful and tall, and she gave off a noble aura. She was the Dragon Kingdom's queen, and she was called Long Shenyan. She had Emperor Heaven Realm cultivation. A bespectacled elder wearing robes said, "This matter has nothing to do with us, so it's best not to get involved. According to the information we have, those are 2 Royal Kingdom factions, so we need to treat them cautiously. Once we start fighting, there will be no turning back." The middle-aged man in armor said confidently, "With our Dragon Kingdom's strength, why would we be afraid of 2 kingdoms? I don't believe that they would send their entire country to fight in the card world." A woman dressed in a palace dress and wearing glasses said, "Your Majesty, it's not a big deal. I want to see what the other factions think. If they also want to attack those 2 Heaven-Awakened World factions, we can ally with them to destroy those 2 Heaven-Awakened World factions." The armored middle-aged man objected. "Our Dragon Kingdom is the strongest faction here. Why would we ally with other factions? That's too shameful." Long Shenyan said, "That's all for now. You can all leave. Yatwa, come down." Hearing this, everyone left the palace. The gentle-looking woman stayed behind. She was called Yatwa, and she was the person Long Shenyan trusted the most. Yatwa asked softly, "Your Majesty, what are your plans?" Long Shenyan said, "Those 2 factions are quickly developing, and sooner or later they will threaten the Dragon Kingdom's position. We can't allow those 2 factions to continue developing." Yatwa said, "Your Majesty, are you going to attack those 2 factions?" Long Shenyan nodded. "However, I'm a bit worried. I don't know much about those two royal kingdom factions, and if they are too powerful, our dragon kingdom will be heavily injured. Yadwa said, then we should ally with the other factions. Long Shenyin said, the other factions are waiting to see what we do. They want to use this opportunity to weaken the dragon kingdom. Yadwa asked, then what should we do, Your Majesty? Long Shenyin thought for a moment before saying, we'll first send people to test the strength of those two royal kingdom factions. If they're only average, we'll destroy them and annex their territory. We'll then destroy the surrounding factions, and then destroy those factions. Yadwa said in surprise, Your Majesty, you're preparing to unify this region? Long Shenyin said seriously, the Dragon Kingdom has patiently developed for 100 years in order to unify this region. Yadwa smiled as she said, then I'll congratulate Your Majesty in advance. Long Shenyin frowned and said, don't be too happy yet. I have a feeling that things aren't so simple. Yadwa asked, Your Majesty, are you worried about the other factions? Long Shenyin shook her head. I already know about those factions, so there's no need to worry about them. What I'm worried about are those two Heaven-Awakened World factions. They might become our greatest obstacle in unifying this region, especially that Tuwei Kingdom. Not only does it have shocking defenses, but it also has powerful destructive power. Ordinary people aren't a match for them, and they might become our greatest enemy. As for that Qin, he's much less of a threat. Yadwa asked, then what should we do, Your Majesty? Long Shenyin said, send out the order to attack the Tuwei Kingdom, which poses the greatest threat. If we know how strong they are, there won't be a problem. We don't have to worry about the others. Yadwa nodded and said, I'll immediately send out the order. The Dragon God Empire's army quickly gathered together. Ordinary soldiers wore black armor and held black weapons, and the auras they gave off were not weak at all. These were just ordinary soldiers. The truly powerful ones were the cavalry corps behind them. These cavalry corps all wore purple dragon armor and held dragon spears and sabers. These soldiers also had dragon bloodlines, and their eyes were purple dragon eyes. The mounts they were riding were dragon horses with dragon heads, single horns, purple identity medallions, dragon tails, and hooves. Chapter 2669. Book 1, Chapter 114. When the surrounding forces heard that Dragon Kingdom was going to attack Tuwei Kingdom, they smiled. They had been waiting for this moment. When the Tuwei Kingdom heard about this, they did not let their guard down because the Dragon Kingdom was the most powerful force in the area. This time, Dragon Kingdom sent 6 billion soldiers to attack Tuwei Kingdom, and Tuwei Kingdom also had about 6 billion soldiers. The number of soldiers was about the same. It was just a matter of whose soldiers were stronger. The two armies faced each other on a flat piece of land and did not say anything. Both sides immediately gave the order to attack. Rumble. The ground trembled as the two armies gave off terrifying flood-like auras as they rushed towards each other. Tuwei Country was the first to launch an attack. Tuwei Country, who was at the front, gathered power in his palm and condensed it into large stones. Then, he threw the stones at the Dragon King's army. Hoo-hoo-hoo! Countless boulders containing immense power howled as they smashed towards the Dragon King's army. The densely packed boulders caused people to feel quite afraid. The soldiers in front of the Dragon King's army threw out cards one by one. The cards turned into streams of black light and flew out. Then, they turned into huge bubbles that floated above the army. Something shocking happened. The floating bubble actually wrapped around the countless falling boulders. The countless boulders didn't fall. Under the control of the Dragon King's army, the bubbles flew towards the Tuwei Kingdom instead. When they arrived above the Tuwei Kingdom, the bubbles burst and countless boulders fell from the sky, smashing towards the Tuwei army below. For this attack, the Dragon King's army was well prepared. They did not blindly attack Tuwei's army. Bang, bang, bang. Facing the falling boulders, the Earthtail soldiers did not panic and waved their hands with great power, shattering the boulders. Shio, shio, shio. Countless arrows were shot from the rear of the Dragon King's army, raining down on Tuwei's army. The Tuwei army roared, and their bodies emitted countless yellow lights. The arrows that hit the two-way soldiers were like hitting hard rocks, making clanging sounds. Many arrows were blocked and flew away. This wave of arrows did not cause many casualties to the two-way army. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the two armies collided like two world-destroying torrents, causing a shocking aura to spread out. The Earth-tail soldier waved his thick arms and sent one of the Dragon King's soldiers flying. One of the Dragon King's soldiers channeled his power into a spear and stabbed forward, piercing through the Earth-tail soldier's hard chest. Another Earth-tail soldier raised his hand and slapped the Dragon King's soldier to the ground, causing him to vomit blood. The Dragon King soldiers all swung their sabers, and with a powerful saber energy, they chopped off an Eat-a-tail person's head. An Eat-a-tail person furiously roared as he grabbed a Dragon King soldier's hand and threw him away. The battle between the two sides was extremely intense. Cries of slaughter and screams rang out incessantly. Blood splattered everywhere, and the number of people who died kept increasing. Both the soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom and the Two-Way Kingdom were very strong. They were far stronger than the soldiers of some small countries. The soldiers of the Two-Way Kingdom did not rely on weapons and equipment. They fought with their strong bodies. The Dragon King's army was well-equipped, and the soldiers were not weak. The Dragon Kingdom's general, who was the valiant-looking young man from before, looked at the battlefield and said, "It's time to use the strengthening cards." An order was passed down. One by one, cards flew out of the bodies of the Dragon King soldiers. After the cards flew out, they stuck to the weapons in the hands of the soldiers. Then, they turned into countless spots of light and dissipated. The weapons emitted a sharp, cold light. Kill! The morale of the Dragon King's soldiers rose. They shouted and waved their weapons at the Two-Way army. A soldier of the Dragon King brandished a large sword and easily chopped off the arm of an earth-and-tail soldier. A soldier of the Dragon King swung his large saber and split open the head of an earth-and-tail soldier. A soldier of the Dragon King thrust his spear and simply pierced the abdomen of an earth-and-tail soldier. The tough defense of the Two-Way soldiers seemed to be useless. For a moment, they were suppressed by the Dragon King's army, and many of them died tragically. The card used by the Dragon King soldiers was a temporary sharpness enhancement card. After use, it could increase the sharpness of the weapon by 2 or 3 times. It was specifically used to break the hard defense of the Earth-tail soldiers. Roar! The Earth-tail soldiers were not easy to bully. They let out loud roars, and their bodies emitted a yellow light. Their bodies grew taller, and their arms turned into a pair of sharp claws. Their muscles bulged and became extremely hard, making them a little frightening. The weapons of the Dragon King's army were not as sharp as before when they slashed at the Earth-tail soldiers. This was because the strength and defense of the Earth-tail country had been strengthened and had become more terrifying than before. The Earth-tail soldier took a step forward and waved his sharp claws, cutting the body of a Dragon King soldier into 5 pieces. Blood and internal organs splattered everywhere. The Earth-tail soldier grabbed the body of a Dragon King soldier and tore it apart. A Earth-tail soldier's sharp claws pierced through the chest of a Dragon King soldier. The sudden burst of power from the Earth-tail army suppressed the Dragon King's army. Their excellent equipment could not withstand the sharp claws of the Earth-tail soldiers, and more soldiers were killed or injured. However, the weakness of the Dragon King's army only lasted for a moment. The Dragon King's army immediately took out cards to strengthen their defense, speed, and strength. When the 3 cards were used together, the strength of the Dragon King's army immediately increased by a lot. The soldiers of both sides continued to fight fiercely. In comparison, the strength of the Dragon King's army was stronger. The Earth-tail soldiers were gradually at a disadvantage, and more people died. Croak, croak, croak. Loud croaks sounded out as huge yellow toads appeared at the back of the Earth-tail army. Each of them was hundreds of meters long and looked like small mountains. There was a white crystal between their eyebrows, and they gave off a massive aura. These were the large creatures that the Earth-tail country had bred. They were called yellow toads. Puff, puff, puff. After the many yellow toads appeared, they puffed out their mouths, and a shocking power spread out. They then shot out countless pieces of soil that shot towards the Dragon King's army, like raindrops. Bang, 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 countless pieces of soil shot over. Some of the Dragon King's soldiers used their weapons to shatter the soil. Some dodged while others were hit by accident. Their bodies were sent flying more than 10 meters away, causing many casualties to the Dragon King's army. This wave of attacks had an unexpected effect. The Earthtail country had not used large creatures against some small countries before. The Earthtail general ordered the yellow toads to attack again. This time, the yellow toads took a deep breath and puffed out their mouths even wider. They gave off a yellow light and a dense power spread out. Chapter 2670. Book I. Chapter 115. Puff, puff, puff. The yellow earth toad spat out even more chunks of soil, which contained immense power as they flew toward the Dragon King's army, seeming as if they wanted to destroy everything. The Dragon King's army immediately threw out cards, which floated in the air and gave off boundless violet light. The countless cards formed a massive violet dragon that floated above the Dragon King's army and gave off a boundless might. Roar! The purple dragon gave a massive roar, and a sound wave ferociously spread out. Countless pieces of dirt were sent flying, and some of the dirt turned into dirt and disappeared. The purple divine dragon looked at the two-way army in front of it and opened its huge dragon mouth. Countless rays of purple light gathered in its mouth, and a terrifying aura spread out. The two-way army sensed a huge threat. Their bodies emitted countless rays of yellow light, forming a huge yellow energy shield around them. Roar! A deafening dragon roar sounded out as the huge purple dragon spewed out countless purple beams of light. The purple beams filled the sky and shot towards the two-way army with destructive power. It was as if they were going to destroy the world. The scene was extremely shocking. Bang, bang, bang. Countless beams of purple light struck the yellow energy shields, causing explosions. Rays of light shot out in all directions, and terrifying fluctuations spread out. After all the fluctuations dissipated, some of the Soiltail people managed to block the attack. Some of them failed to block the attack, and their bodies exploded. Some of them suffered serious injuries. Boom! The countless Earthtail soldiers exploded out with great power, and countless traces of yellow aura flowed out of their bodies. The yellow aura gathered together like a flood and continuously condensed, forming a massive yellow toad. Bang! The yellow earth toad spat out a huge chunk of soil that brought with it a powerful gust of wind that sent the purple dragon flying. Croak, croak, croak! Countless yellow soil toads let out loud cries and leaped into the midst of the Dragon King's army. They rammed into many of the Dragon King's soldiers and sent them flying. Then, they kicked out with their legs and sent many of the Dragon King's soldiers flying. Seizing this opportunity, the two-way army shouted and rushed forward to fight with the Dragon King's army, causing great casualties to the Dragon King's army. In order to inflict further damage on the Dragon King's army, some of the two-way soldiers pressed their hands on the ground and injected a huge force into the ground. Swish, swish, swish. Huge earth pillars shot out of the ground with great force, sending the Dragon King's soldiers flying one by one. This caused the Dragon King's army to become even more chaotic. The Dragon King's army did not choose to attack and instead chose to defend. A massive purple energy barrier appeared, enveloping the Dragon King's army. The shield bearers also started to form shield walls, blocking all sorts of attacks. The two-way army watched as the Dragon King's army defended. The situation was very favorable for them. The two-way general breathed a sigh of relief and continued to order the two-way soldiers to attack and defeat the Dragon King's army in one fell swoop. Darvis looked at the constantly attacking two-way army with a solemn expression and ordered the Dragon King's army to continue defending. Time passed. A soldier came over and reported, "General, Your Majesty can say that we can attack with all our might." Davis smiled. This time, their main task was not to destroy two-way country, but to test the strength of two-way country. Now that they had a good understanding of two-way country's strength, they had to go all out. An order was issued. The Dragon King's army made way, and countless cavalrymen rode out on dragon horses, giving off an extremely dangerous aura. The surroundings fell silent. Darvis rode his dragon horse to the front of the cavalry, drew his saber, and shouted, "Charge!" Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the countless cavalrymen gripped their weapons and gave off a powerful aura as they charged forward. They turned into a purple torrent that seemed to want to destroy everything. The two-way army's expressions fell, and they pressed their hands against the ground, sending powerful waves of power into it. Massive earthen walls rose up, each of them 10 meters thick and 100 meters tall, giving off an indestructible aura. The two-way general understood that the cavalrymen in the card world were incredibly terrifying and had seen them with his own eyes, so he ordered his people to cast another ability. The two-way soldiers took out palm-sized yellow tortoises and pressed them against the ground. Magic formations appeared, and the yellow tortoises fused into the magic formations, causing powerful waves of power to flow towards the earthen walls. The massive earthen walls absorbed the powerful waves of power, and massive tortoises appeared from the earthen walls, giving off even more powerful and firm power. The earthen walls had powerful defenses, and the two-way country had prepared them to deal with the cavalrymen in the card world. Darvis, who was at the front, looked at the thick earthen walls and smiled. Boom! The countless Dragon King cavalrymen gave off countless traces of violet aura. The violet aura was incredibly dense and covered the cavalrymen's bodies. It formed an even more massive violet torrent that surged forwards, causing the ground to tremble. The terrifying power was enough to make people's hearts tremble. Bang! 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 The sturdy earthen walls were instantly shattered, and shockwaves spread out, forming a wild gale that blew out. Countless rocks were sent flying, and the sound was deafening. The two-way army looked quite confused. They had never thought that such a firm defense would be shattered so easily. At that moment, the massive torrent turned into smaller torrents that rushed towards the massive yellow toads. The yellow toads furiously roared and gave off a massive aura. Layers of earthen armor appeared on their bodies as they ferociously rushed towards the Dragon King army. Their bodies were like small mountains as they charged forwards. Bang! 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 The two of them quickly and ferociously clashed together, and the yellow toads were sent flying back by a massive force. Some of the yellow toads were in an even worse state. Their bodies were pierced by the violet torrent and torn apart by a ferocious power, causing their flesh to scatter everywhere. The scene was quite terrifying. Countless two-way soldiers looked quite grim. The Dragon Kingdom's cavalrymen were just too powerful. Countless Dragon Kingdom soldiers took out a few more cards and used them. They became even more powerful as they charged towards the two-way army with a powerful aura. After the cavalrymen at the front dealt with the countless yellow toads, they gathered into a single line and fearlessly charged towards the two-way soldiers with terrifying power. The two-way soldiers could not stop them at all, and they were sent flying one by one. With the cavalrymen at the front wreaking havoc, it was much easier for the Dragon King's army at the back to deal with the two-way army. More and more two-way soldiers died, and it was obvious that the two-way army had been defeated. They were powerless to stop the Dragon King's army, and the two-way general's expression became grim. He could only give the order to retreat. Top. Chapter 2671. Book 1. Chapter 116. Standing on a hill, Long Shenyan looked at the retreating army of two-way country. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Order the other armies to attack together. Take this opportunity to repel two-way country." Long Shenyan had personally seen the two-way kingdom's strength. Even though it was not a match for the Dragon Kingdom, it was still quite powerful and would cause great trouble for the Dragon Kingdom. Defeating the two-way kingdom was a good opportunity to force it back to the Heaven-Awakened world and not give it a chance to breathe. Yadwa smiled. Got it. Boom, boom, boom. 3 troops of the Dragon King's army rushed toward the city wall of two-way country from 3 different directions with a terrible momentum. Each group had 5 billion or so Dragon King soldiers, and the Earth Tail soldiers' expressions were quite unsightly. They quickly ordered people to send word to the Earthtail Kingdom and the Heaven Awakened world to send more soldiers, or else they would not be able to defend at all. In the Heaven Awakened world, the Two-Way Kingdom had heard about everything, and many ministers were gathered to discuss whether they should reinforce the base in the card world or withdraw all of their forces. If they were to reinforce the base in the card world, it was unknown how many troops would be lost. If all the troops were withdrawn, then everything before would be in vain and some resources would be wasted. Boom! A massive purple torrent, carrying an incomparably terrifying aura, smashed into the massive earthen wall of the base like a hot knife through butter. The massive earthen wall collapsed in an instant, causing countless rocks to fly everywhere and smoke and dust to fill the air. With the unstoppable cavalry charging forward, countless soldiers of the Dragon King easily poured in like a tide. In addition, there were not many defenders in Two-Way country, so the Dragon King's army easily conquered this area. It was the same for the other directions. In the end, Two-Way country decided to evacuate because the Dragon Kingdom was determined to destroy them. With the Dragon Kingdom's power, Two-Way country had to use all its power to resist. Two-Way country did not want to lose so many resources. It was not worth it. The Dragon King's army occupied the territory of the Two-Way Kingdom as fast as lightning, which was extremely shocking. Tina Pendragon sat in a palace and frowned. Hillary and Eileen also sat beside her, and there were many panicked ministers. The Dragon Kingdom's strength was simply too shocking. It had instantly chased the powerful Two-Way Kingdom out of the card world. There were only two Heaven Awakened world factions here. One was the Two-Way Kingdom, and the other was the Qin Kingdom. After repelling the Two-Way Kingdom, the Dragon Kingdom's next target would be them. These ministers were Qin Kingdom's ministers who had destroyed many small kingdoms, and they were incredibly terrified of the Dragon Kingdom's strength. Tina Pendragon said, "Everyone, don't be afraid. With Great Qin's current strength, we do not fear the Dragon Kingdom, nor will we retreat. I can guarantee this. Pendragon Qin Kingdom, Qin Kingdom Qin, and Chun, Pendragon Long Tian, Chun Qin Empire, Chun, 66 Chun, Chun, 1 Qin, and Chun, Qin Dynasty, 1 Chun, 1 Kingdom, 1 Chun, Fu Chun, 1 Chun, 2, everyone Chun, country, 1 Chun, Kingdom, Qin Chun, 1 Tian Chun, and for 2 Chun. Hearing Tina Pendragon's words, the ministers felt more at ease. They now feared the mysterious Qin Empire even more. Eileen asked, "Does His Majesty know about this?" Tina Pendragon replied, "He hasn't returned from the Chaos world yet. I've already reported this matter to Qin, and General Bai and the other ministers should be discussing how to deal with this matter. All we can do now is wait and strengthen the defenses here." Hillary sighed. "It's a pity that I haven't established my Emperor Cavalry Corps yet, or else it would be even stronger than the Dragon Kingdom's Cavalry Corps. The greatest weapon in the card world is the Cavalry Corps." This time, it was the Dragon King's cavalry regiment that turned the tide of the battle between the Dragon King's army and the Earthtail army. They had defeated the Earthtail army without using their full strength, and there were only a few million cavalrymen. If it had been all the cavalrymen of the Dragon Kingdom, they would have been able to sweep the entire battlefield. Elena nodded. "Our elemental cavalry regiment has just been established. We're no match for the Dragon King's cavalry regiment in terms of strength and numbers. But given some time, the elemental cavalry regiment won't lose out to them." Qin also decided to send reinforcements to the card world. At the same time, he continued to gather information on the various kingdoms, as they could attack at any moment. Right now, Qin's greatest enemy in the Heaven Awakened world was them, or else Qin would be able to destroy that alliance. His gaze returned to Long Shunyan. Yato bowed. "Congratulations on your victory, Your Majesty." Long Shunyan revealed a faint smile. "I'm also a little surprised that the Two-Way Kingdom was defeated so smoothly this time." Yadwa said, "Your Majesty, why don't we attack the nearby Qin Empire in one fell swoop and eliminate the two Tianqi forces here?" Long Shunyan said, "Let's take control of the Two-Way Kingdom's territory first. The war has just ended, and the situation is still unstable. The Qin Empire's strength is average, so don't worry too much about it. I'm interested in that Prince Qin. I feel that he's a bit special. Yadwa smiled as she said, Your Majesty is rarely interested in men. This is Prince Qin's honor. Long Shunyan lightly laughed. You're thinking too much. Yadwa asked, Your Majesty, now that we've defeated the Two-Way Kingdom and eliminated this greatest obstacle to unifying this place, what should we do next? Long Shunyan said, Let's see if there are any changes to the situation. If there aren't, I want to use that Qin to stall some of those factions' forces. When that time comes, we'll destroy those factions and unify this place. Even though none of these factions were at the Royal Kingdom level, they had 5 or 6 worlds and were not weak. It would be quite difficult to destroy them all at once. Finally, his gaze returned to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not know about the card world, and he was thinking about where to go next. There were 2 main quests: collect various types of essence blood and collect bronze shards. Both of these things were quite difficult to deal with. He could not buy essence blood from other places, as it would be easy for his identity to be exposed. Or could he obtain large amounts of essence blood? As for bronze shards, there was no information at all, and he did not know where to find them. Zhao Fu decided to walk around and see if there were any changes. A few days later, Zhao Fu brought everyone to a city. Zhao Fu did not have any purpose for coming here, and he just wanted to walk around. I didn't expect to meet you here. Shui Wuya smiled as he walked up to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu looked quite surprised, and he gave a trace of a smile. I'm just walking around. Shui Wuya smiled as he said, I've heard about you. Your Majesty is indeed different from ordinary people. Congratulations on obtaining the Blood Demon inheritance. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, You're too polite. Shui Wuya smiled as he said, Since your Majesty is here, please come to my place and treat you well. Chapter 2672, Volume 1, Chapter 117. Hearing this, Zhao Fu thought about it and realized that he had nowhere to go, so he nodded. They followed Shui Wuya to the Bloodlong Gate. This Bloodlong Gate surprised Zhao Fu. It was an extremely powerful Emperor-class power, and it had 10 supreme experts. Furthermore, it was a gathering of geniuses. Its foundation was so powerful that no one dared to provoke it. The Bloodlong Gate's inheritance had been passed down since ancient times. It was divided into 8 gates, and Shui Wuya was a direct descendant of one of them. Because Zhao Fu had so many people, Shui Wuya ordered people to prepare several tables of food. Shui Wuya continuously toasted Zhao Fu, thanking Zhao Fu for his help. At the same time, he knew that Zhao Fu's potential was astonishing, and he would definitely become a peerless expert in the future. So he wanted to befriend Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu also politely returned the toast. At this moment, a mature woman in blood-red clothes walked in. She had a beautiful face and a refined temperament. Shui Wuya smiled. Big sister, you've come. The person who had come was Shui Wuya's big sister, Shui Ruo. Shui Ruo looked at Zhao Fu and asked, Is he the person you were talking about? Shui Wuya smiled. Yes. Shui Ruo smiled and bowed to Zhao Fu. Many thanks for saving my life, said Zhao Fu. No need to be polite. Shui Ruo sat down on the table and raised her cup of wine. Let me toast you. Zhao Fu also raised his cup, and the two of them downed it in one gulp. Shui Ruo's gaze swept over the women and blood warriors beside Zhao Fu. These are all people in the Blood Devil realm. Not only do they have powerful blood force, but they also have Blood Devil spirit bodies. Zhao Fu smiled as he nodded. Shui Ruo curiously asked, Since you've obtained the Blood Devil inheritance, you should have the ability to transform Blood Devil spirit bodies, right? Zhao Fu smiled and said, Well, do you also want to obtain the Blood Demon spirit body? Shui Ruo smiled and nodded. My sect is called the Blood Martial Gate. We rely on blood to fight, and we lose a great deal of essence blood. Last time I was heavily injured because I lost too much essence blood. Fortunately, my little brother brought back medicinal pills that allowed me to recover so quickly. The Blood Demon spirit body itself is a type of high-grade physique created by the Blood Demon in the past. It can absorb a large amount of blood essence and transform it into its own blood essence. If I can obtain this physique, then I can make up for the shortcomings of my cultivation method. Zhao Fu smiled and said, "If you want, I can give you the blood demon spirit body right now. Transforming this kind of spirit body is very easy for me." Shui Yuruo smiled. "Many thanks. Is there anything that you would like to have? Or something you wanted to do? I also want to help you." Shui Wuya also said with a smile, "Yes. I also want to repay you." Zhao Fu thought about it. "How many kinds of essence blood do you have?" Shui Wuya said, "Because of our cultivation method, we need a large amount of essence blood. Basically, human essence blood. How much do you need?" All of it was human blood essence? Zhao Fu thought about it and agreed. "I want as much as you have." Shui Wuya smiled. "No problem. I'll immediately have people prepare it for you. Is there anything else you want?" Zhao Fu asked. "Then have you heard any news about the bronze fragments?" "Bronze fragments?" Shui Wuya smiled. Zhao Fu saw that Shui Yuruo might know about the bronze fragments. He was pleasantly surprised. "Yes, do you know anything about them?" Shui Wuya shook his head. "It seems that many people have been gathering information about them. I heard they have something to do with the child of primal chaos." Zhao Fu was disappointed. He had thought that Shui Wuya would know. Zhao Fu said, "Prepare yourselves. I'll help you transform into a blood demon spirit body." Shui Yuruo smiled and nodded. Transforming into a blood demon spirit body didn't just require Zhao Fu's power, but also a large amount of essence blood. Shui Yuruo didn't lack that, and she quickly finished her preparations. Within an exquisite room, Shui Yuruo looked expectantly at Zhao Fu. Right now, there were only the two of them in the room. The others were waiting outside. There were blood bottles around them. There were over 1,000 of them, and they were all filled with high-grade essence blood. Transforming into a blood demon spirit body required a large amount of blood. A single drop of essence blood was equivalent to a large amount of ordinary blood. Zhao Fu said, "Take off your clothes." Shui Yuruo blushed. Thinking about it, she felt that Zhao Fu wasn't a bad person. Most likely, this was what was needed to transform into a blood demon spirit body. So she did as Zhao Fu said. Zhao Fu was truly like a gentleman. His expression didn't change, and he extended a hand. Blood-colored energy surged out, shattering the bottles. Blood began to revolve around Shui Yuruo's body. A 3-meter-tall blood devil with a pair of wings and a bull's horn appeared behind Zhao Fu. It emitted a dense blood qi. Zhao Fu's hand pressed down, and a powerful blood-colored aura surged out of his palm and quickly entered Shui Yuruo's body. The surrounding blood also entered Shui Yuruo's body, and Shui Yuruo's body began to shine with blood-colored light. Shui Yuruo felt her body rapidly change under the influence of the blood-colored energy. She was even stronger than before, and she was extremely happy. Her blood martial gates cultivation technique and the blood devil spirit body allowed her to use forbidden energy without any misgivings. Her combat power would multiply by several times, and she would be much more confident in the next trial. Within the blood-colored light, a blood devil imprint appeared on Shui Yuruo's back. A shocking blood qi came from her body, and her temperament also changed slightly. It now contained a trace of evil aura. Shui Yuruo had obtained the blood devil spirit body, and the light she was emitting faded. Zhao Fu smiled. "How do you feel about this energy now?" Shui Yuruo happily said, "Very strong. Thank you." Zhao Fu examined Shui Yuruo. "No need to be courteous." Seeing that Zhao Fu was looking at her, Shui Yuruo came back to her senses and blushed. Just as she was about to put on her clothes, Zhao Fu went up and hugged her. Shui Wuya and the others were waiting outside. Shui Wuya also wanted to obtain the blood devil spirit body, and he was wondering what it would be like. An hour later, Shui Yuruo glared at Zhao Fu and began to put on her clothes. Zhao Fu smiled. When he had told Shui Wuya some information about him, Zhao Fu didn't want his identity to be exposed, so he had to control them. The door opened, and Shui Wuya looked at his rosy big sister, who looked like a completely different person. He happily asked, "Big sister, how does it feel to obtain the blood devil spirit body?" Shui Yao turned to glare at Zhao Fu and angrily said, "Ask him." Shui Wuya was puzzled. Why had his big sister been so polite to Zhao Fu before? Why had she become like this now? Zhao Fu felt quite awkward and smiled as he said, "You'll know once you obtain the blood demon spirit body." Chapter 2673. Book 1. Chapter 118. Aracena looked at Shui Yua's rosy face and also glared at Zhao Fu. They both understood what was going on. 10 minutes later, Shui Wuya walked out with a smile on his face. Now that he had the support of the blood demon spirit body, his strength had increased a lot. At that moment, an attendant handed a spatial ring to Shui Wuya. Shui Wuya took the spatial ring and looked at it as he smiled and said, "Blood demon, there are more than 10,000 types of blood essence in here for you. I'm really grateful to you this time." Zhao Fu chuckled. "You're welcome." Shui Yuruo snorted. "There's no need to thank me. Hurry up and leave. I don't want to see you." Shui Wuya said discontentedly, "Sister, the blood demon has helped us so much. We should have kept him for a few more days and properly entertained him. How dare you let him go?" Shui Yuruo angrily glared at her little brother. She had been forcefully taken by Zhao Fu, and it wasn't good for her little brother to see that he was a beast with a human face. On the surface, he looked like a good gentleman, but in truth, he was extremely evil. "Brother Blood Demon," a somewhat familiar voice rang out. Everyone saw Shi Qianhe walking over with a smile on his face. Shi Qianhe belonged to the Blood Crowd sect in the Blood sect. This sect had a large number of people, and they liked to recruit people from different places and personalities. Therefore, there were all kinds of people in the sect. There were good people, evil people, ghosts, idiots, and so on. Therefore, they had different names, and their bloodlines were very complicated. The Blood Martial sect maintained the purity of their bloodline, and they also used Shui as their surname. The relationship between each faction was also hard to say. Although they were all from the same faction, there were still some grudges between them. The relationship between Shi Qianhe and Shui Wuya was very ordinary. There was no grudge between them. Zhao Fu replied with a smile. "And Brother Shi," Shi Qianhe said with a smile, "why didn't you inform me that you were coming to the Bloodlong Gate? I would have properly entertained your brother." Zhao Fu didn't think too much about it, and said with a smile, "Sorry, I was careless." Shi Qianhe said, "It's okay. Come my place. I'll order someone to prepare some good food and wine." Shui Yuruo frowned. Zhao Fu was a guest her little brother had invited, and now he was being pulled away by Shi Qianhe. Shui Wuya also felt a little uncomfortable and said, "Shi Qianhe, this is my guest. Isn't it inappropriate to pull him to your side?" Shi Qianhe thought for a moment and said, "Sorry, I was too excited. Many people are talking about Brother Blood Demon now. I'm so happy to see him." Shui Wuya said with a smile, "It's okay. It depends on whether Brother Blood Devil is willing to go or not." Everyone looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu thought that there was nothing for him to do in the Bloodlong sect, and he had collected more than 10,000 types of essence blood. So he said, "Let's go next time." Shi Qianhe did not insist and said with a smile, "It's all right. By the way, why did Brother Blood Demon come to our vicinity?" Zhao Fu said, "Nothing much, just strolling around. I didn't expect to come so close to the Blood Dragon Gate." Shi Qianhe said in surprise, "Brother Blood Demon, you obtained such a powerful blood demon inheritance. Shouldn't you have your own force? Why are you just strolling around?" Zhao Fu replied, "I don't have any force, and I don't have a place to go, so I just strolled around." Shi Qianhe was surprised. He thought that Zhao Fu's identity was extremely noble, and he must be the young master of some powerful force. He didn't expect that Zhao Fu didn't have any force. Shi Qianhe was pleasantly surprised and said, "Brother Blood Demon, why don't you join our Bloodlong sect?" Zhao Fu had obtained such a powerful blood demon inheritance. Even if he didn't have any identity, he would definitely be regarded as a peerless genius in the Bloodlong sect. Shi Qianhe knew that Zhao Fu was much stronger than him. If Zhao Fu joined the Bloodlong sect, he would definitely become the sect master in the future. Shui Wia also didn't expect that Zhao Fu didn't have any force. If Zhao Fu joined the Bloodlong sect and transformed the others into blood demon spirit bodies, the Bloodlong sect strength would increase by a lot. Zhao Fu was also very important to the Bloodlong sect. Shui Wuya smiled and said, "Brother Blood Demon, I think you should join our Bloodlong sect. Our Bloodlong sect is better than the Bloodlong sect in all aspects. The Bloodlong sect is a mix of good and bad people. It's not suitable for you." Shi Qianhe heard this and said angrily, "What do you mean the Bloodlong sect can't compare to your Bloodlong sect? We have more eccentrics than your Bloodlong sect." Shui Wuya lightly smiled and said, "You're right. Your Bloodlong sect has more eccentrics, but our Bloodlong sect is much stronger than yours." Shi Qianhe was so angry that he laughed and said, "Then why don't we compete?" Shui Wuya had just obtained the blood demon spirit body and wanted to test its power. He didn't have any fear and said with a smile, "Sure." Zhao Fu's expression became awkward. Seeing that the two of them were about to fight, he hastily said, "Don't argue about this. I still haven't thought about what power I want to join." Shi Qianhe thought about it and said, "Brother Bloodline, your blood demon inheritance is blood attribute. Our Bloodlong sect is also blood attribute, and our power isn't weak in the primal chaos world. I think it's very suitable for you. If you join our Bloodlong sect, I think the position of sect master will definitely be yours." Shui Wuya and Shui Yurua were startled. Although they had thought that Zhao Fu had great potential, they hadn't expected Shi Qianhe to place such importance on Zhao Fu. The Bloodlong sect only had 8 sect masters. Even if you became a supreme expert, you wouldn't have the qualifications to become one of the sect masters. Zhao Fu seriously thought about it and said, "Let me think about this matter." Shi Qianhe smiled and said, "No problem. As long as Brother Blood Demon wants to join the Bloodlong sect, I welcome you at any time." Zhao Fu nodded. Shi Qianhe brought his people away. It didn't take long for people from other sects to find Zhao Fu. The news of the Blood Demon's inheritor coming to the Bloodlong sect had already spread. Because of how powerful the Blood Demon inheritance was, many people wanted Zhao Fu to join their sect. There were a total of 4 sects that had come. The first was the Blood Poison sect. Because of their cultivation technique, their blood contained a powerful poison that could easily poison a person to death. But because of the poison accumulating in their bodies, their people were all very ugly. The person who came to see Zhao Fu was an ugly-looking young man called Shui Sandu. The second was the Blood Beast sect. This sect's combat power was also very high. They could transform their blood chi into all kinds of wild beasts that possessed immense destructive power. The person who came to see Zhao Fu was a powerful youth called Shui Hidden Dragon. The third was the Blood Tool sect. This sect could use all kinds of blood to create all kinds of weapons, so they had different abilities and were very difficult to deal with. The person who came to see Zhao Fu was a skinny youth called Shui Bai Qi. The fourth was the Blood Demon sect. This sect could use blood to create all kinds of illusions that could affect people's minds. They could even control people unknowingly. Their cultivation technique also had a type of bewitching power. The Blood Demon sect was mostly made up of women, so the women from the Blood Demon sect all looked like bewitching blood demons. The person who came to see Zhao Fu was a woman with a fiery figure and a beautiful face. She was called Shui Meili. Adding on Shui Wuya's Blood Martial sect and Shi Qianhe's Blood Crowd sect, there were a total of 6 sects that had come to see Zhao Fu. There were 2 other sects that had not sent anyone, as if they were not very interested in Zhao Fu. The remaining 2 sects were stronger than the others, and one of them had even given birth to the Blood Poison sect's sect master. As such, they had the confidence to not come to see Zhao Fu. Shui Sandu looked at Zhao Fu and said, "I've heard about you. Our Blood Poison sect welcomes you at any time. Even though our appearance is flawed because of our cultivation technique, you will obtain great power. Only with power will you be able to survive in this world." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. "I'll think about it." In actuality, when Zhao Fu saw Shui Sandu's ugly appearance, he had already decided that he would not join the Blood Poison sect. Zhao Fu did not want to become so ugly. Shui Fulong smiled and said, I'm very interested in you and want to have an opportunity to fight with you. If you can join our Blood Beast sect, that would be for the best. Seeing how warlike Shui Fulong was, Zhao Fu had heard that the Blood Beast sect's people were very warlike and barbaric. There would often be all kinds of battles, and their region was very chaotic. This made Zhao Fu not want to join the Blood Beast sect, so he eliminated them. Chapter 2674. Book 1, Chapter 119. Blood Beast Sect. Zhao Fu said courteously, I'll also consider joining the Blood Beast sect. Shui Baiqi said, even though our sect's battle power isn't very strong, we have all sorts of blood tools and can deal with all sorts of dangers. If you join our Blood Tool sect, perhaps you won't become the strongest, but you'll be the person who can live the longest. The Blood Tool sect was quite interesting and could create all sorts of blood tools. Just as Shui Baiqi had said, perhaps Zhao Fu wouldn't become the strongest, but he would be the one with the most life-saving methods. Zhao Fu felt quite interested and said, I understand. Shui Meili looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes and charmingly smiled as she said, I don't have much to say. I'm sure you've heard about our Blood Charm sect, so I won't introduce you too much. Finally, if you join our Blood Charm sect, you definitely won't be disappointed. Zhao Fu looked at Shui Meili and lightly smiled as he said, I also don't think I'll be disappointed. Facing Zhao Fu's gaze, Shui Meili's smile became even more enchanting and she felt quite happy. This meant that she could charm Zhao Fu. She had heard that the Blood Demon legacy was very powerful, but no one had ever obtained it. If she could subdue Zhao Fu, her position in the Blood Beast sect would rise. Seeing that Zhao Fu was attracted by Shui Meili's beauty, the other three people could not help but look down on Zhao Fu. It seemed that this Blood Demon legatee was a lecherous person, and someone who could be charmed by beauty would not have great accomplishments in the future. Shui Meili lightly smiled as she said, Then you've decided to join our Blood Charm sect. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, I can join your Blood Charm sect. Shui Meili happily smiled as she said, That's great. I'll immediately report this to the elder. You're welcome to join our Blood Charm sect. The Blood Charm sect was not very strong within the Blood Beast sect and had always been suppressed by the other sections. If Zhao Fu could become a peerless genius, the Blood Charm sect's position would rise. This was a very good thing, and she had never thought that it would be so easy. Shui Mimi didn't know that this wasn't a good thing at all, but a nightmare. The other three were flabbergasted. They never thought that Zhao Fu would join the Blood Demon sect just like that. Didn't he say that he would consider it? Why did he suddenly join the Blood Demon sect? This made the three of them uncomfortable. Shui Hidden Dragon sneered. I really did not expect that you would join the Blood Demon sect because of your beauty. If I had known that you were such a person, I would not have come. I hope that you are as powerful as the rumors say. Otherwise, it would be a joke if you were defeated by me. Shui Hidden Dragon didn't even turn his head after he finished speaking. He was no longer as polite as before. Shui Sandu looked at Zhao Fu and said, I think you've made the wrong choice. Why would a man like you choose the Blood Demon sect? If it's because of their beauty, then pretend I didn't say anything. I hope you won't regret it. Zhao Fu did not get angry. He smiled and said, Don't worry, I won't regret it. Shui Sandu didn't say anything else and left the room. Shui Baiqi smiled as he said, If you don't want to stay in the Blood Demon sect, the Blood Tool sect will welcome you. Even though Shui Baiqi looked down on Zhao Fu, he was still more polite than the other two and hoped that Zhao Fu would join the Blood Tool sect. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Thank you. Shui Baiqi turned and left. In the end, Shui Mei looked at Zhao Fu and said, With your status as the Blood Demon legatee, many junior sisters will like you, which is something that you won't be able to enjoy in other sects. Of course, if you're interested in me, you'll have a chance, but it'll depend on your performance. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, I understand. Shui Mimi lightly laughed as she said, Blood Demon, I'll be going now. I'll see you later. In the end, Shui Mimi also left because Zhao Fu, the Blood Demon legatee, joining the Blood Demon sect was not a small matter. Even the higher-ups were paying attention, and Shui Mimi had to report this to the higher-ups. The news quickly spread. Shui Wuya and Shi Qianhe were also startled. They hadn't expected that Zhao Fu would choose the Blood Demon sect. They had thought that Zhao Fu would choose them. When they learned that Zhao Fu had chosen them because of their beauty, Shi Qianhe sighed. Looking at how many women Zhao Fu had around him, he should have guessed that Zhao Fu was a very romantic person. If he had used this point, it would have been easy to get Zhao Fu to join them. Shi Qianhe said, "If I had known that he would choose them because of their beauty, we would have brought a group of beauties with us. If she joined the Blood Demon sect, I would have sacrificed myself. Our Blood Demon sect needs such a peerless genius, or the other sects will look down on us." Shi Qianhe said, "Forget it. He's already joined the Blood Demon sect. Getting along with him in the future will be quite beneficial." Shui Ruo furiously went to find Zhao Fu. She had thought that with their relationship, Zhao Fu would choose the Blood Martial sect. But she found that Zhao Fu didn't care about her at all. It was like he was just playing around. "You scum, I'll kill you." Shui Ruo furiously charged into the room and sent a powerful palm at Zhao Fu. But before her palm could even reach Zhao Fu, Shui Ruo felt her energy rapidly draining away. Her body also became powerless, and she fell forward. Zhao Fu caught Shui Ruo and smiled. "What is it?" Shui Ruo clenched her teeth. "You scum, you dare to ask me what is it? Why don't you join the Blood Martial sect?" Zhao Fu smiled. "Didn't you say you didn't like me and wanted me to leave?" Shui Ruo furiously said, "I'm just saying. It's not like I want you to leave. Do you want to dump me after playing with me?" Zhao Fu smiled. "Do I look like such a person?" Shui Ruo snorted. "You are. Otherwise, why would you do such a thing to me? To think I thought you were a good person, a gentleman. I even have some respect for you." Zhao Fu awkwardly smiled. "You can't blame me. You can only blame yourself for being too alluring." Shui Ruo felt a bit better. "Why do you think I chose to join the Blood Demon Gate?" Zhao Fu said, "Of course, to better control them, I also have my own plans." Shui Ruo stared at Zhao Fu. "I knew your identity wasn't simple, and your goal wasn't simple." Zhao Fu smiled. "Don't worry, I won't do anything to harm the Blood Martial sect." If Shui Ruo was at ease, she would be worried that Zhao Fu would harm the Blood Martial sect. That would put her in a difficult position. As the leader of the Blood Martial sect, she definitely wouldn't allow Zhao Fu to do anything to harm the Blood Martial sect. But she also couldn't kill Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu continued, "In a bit, I will condense a Blood Devil Stone. With it, you can build a blood pool that will allow people to obtain a Blood Devil spirit body." Chapter 2675, Volume 1, Chapter 120. Killing. Hearing that, Shui Ruo nodded and hugged Zhao Fu. She was no longer angry. In truth, Zhao Fu just wanted the Blood Wolf Gate to help him gather blood. The Blood Wolf Gate was very powerful. Firstly, it could help Zhao Fu gather blood, and secondly, it also collected all kinds of blood to cultivate. Even if he gathered a lot of blood, it would not attract attention. As for Aracina and the other women, Zhao Fu had them leave first. If anything unexpected happened, Zhao Fu would immediately choose to run. If they stayed within the Blood Wolf Gate, they would instead be a burden to Zhao Fu. An hour later, Shui Yume returned and smiled. "Blood Devil, come with me to the Blood Demon Gate. I have some good news for you. The Blood Demon Gate's sect master, Shui Baimei, is willing to accept you as a disciple. In the future, I will be your senior apprentice sister." Zhao Fu smiled. "Thank you, senior apprentice sister." Afterward, Zhao Fu followed Shui Yume to the Blood Demon Gate's palace. There were already countless people gathered here. The majority of them were women, while a small portion were men. But they all looked very feminine. They were all very curious about the Blood Devil's heir, Zhao Fu. At the center of the palace was a voluptuous woman with a charming face. She was Shui Baimei, the Blood Demon Gate's sect master. There were also many elders around her. The Blood Demon Gate truly did place great importance on Zhao Fu's matter. Shui Baimei gave a trace of a flirtatious smile as she looked at the cloaked Zhao Fu and asked, "Are you the Blood Demon legatee?" Zhao Fu nodded. Shui Baimei continued to smile. First take off your cloak. Why are you still wearing it? Zhao Fu hesitated. Shui Baimei asked, what is it? Can't I reveal my appearance after joining the Blood Demon Gate? Everyone looked at Zhao Fu. They didn't know why Zhao Fu kept wearing a cloak. Was it because he was too ugly? At that moment, Zhao Fu slowly took off his cloak, and a dazzling face appeared before everyone's eyes. Everyone immediately fell silent as they looked at Zhao Fu in fascination. Their hearts rapidly thumped, and a blush appeared on their faces. This was the first time they had seen such a perfect face. Shui Baimei was slightly dazed, but she came back to her senses and smiled as she said, "Who would have thought that you would be so good-looking? Even I feel inferior to you. No wonder you always wear a cloak." Zhao Fu bowed. "Sect Master, you're overpraising me." Shui Baimei said, "Please show me the blood demon inheritance that you have obtained." Boom! An explosion sounded out as a massive blood-red aura exploded out from Zhao Fu's body, forming a 3-meter-tall blood demon behind Zhao Fu, giving off a massive might. Sensing such a powerful blood demon's power, everyone looked incredibly shocked. Anyone with this blood demon legacy would be welcomed by any faction. If nothing went wrong, Zhao Fu would become a peerless expert, which would be equivalent to having a peerless expert in their faction. Shui Baimei smiled in satisfaction as she said, "I don't care about your previous identity, but you are now a member of the Blood Demon Gate. The Blood Demon Gate will fully nurture you, and you must protect the Blood Demon Gate. I'm willing to take you as my disciple. Are you willing?" Zhao Fu lightly smiled and bowed as he said, "I'm willing. Greetings, Master." Shui Baimei smiled as she said, "Good. Master will definitely nurture you into a peerless expert and make the Blood Demon Gate famous." Zhao Fu lowered his head as he said, "I won't disappoint, Master." Shui Baimei smiled as she took out a spatial ring, which flew into Zhao Fu's hands as she said, "This is a gift for you. You can familiarize yourself with the Blood Demon Gate with your senior apprentice sister. I'll talk to you in the future." Zhao Fu accepted the spatial ring and nodded. Shui Baimei looked at Zhao Fu beside her and felt quite moved as she said, "Junior apprentice brother, come with me. I'll introduce the Blood Demon Gate to you." Zhao Fu nodded and left with Shui Baimei. The others followed behind Zhao Fu, surrounding Zhao Fu like stars surrounding the moon. Countless pairs of eyes looked at Zhao Fu in infatuation, and some even cried out in excitement. Various emotions of adoration and love filled the air. Just with Zhao Fu's looks, he could make countless women go crazy. After Zhao Fu left, Shui Baimei had the others leave as well, leaving behind only the elders to discuss matters regarding Zhao Fu. Shui Baimei brought Zhao Fu around with many women following behind them, and the news quickly spread. Everyone heard that the Blood Demon sect legatee was a peerlessly handsome man with an appearance that no one else could compare to. Hearing that it was so exaggerated, everyone naturally did not believe it and came to take a look. They were immediately subdued by Zhao Fu's peerless appearance. It was not just the Blood Demon Gate. The other sects also came over out of curiosity. Countless women were incredibly excited, and their faces were red, looking quite cute. Some excitedly called out to Zhao Fu, saying that they were willing to become Zhao Fu's woman and begging Zhao Fu to accept them. Countless men felt a blow in their hearts and understood that they could not compare to Zhao Fu at all. Some people felt incredibly envious and said some sour words. Shui Weia and Shi Qinna also came over, looking surprised. They didn't expect Zhao Fu to be so good-looking. At that moment, Shui Yumei brought Zhao Fu before a blood-red door. This blood-red door was at the top of a large mountain and looked like it was made of wood or iron. It was 1,000 meters tall and 100 or so meters wide, and there were many beautiful women carved on it. It gave off a massive aura. Shui Mimi said, "Junior apprentice brother, this is the inheritance of my blood charm sect, Blood Succubus. If you step forward and place your hand on the door, you will receive our blood charm demonic art. Then, you will officially become a member of my blood charm sect." Zhao Fu nodded in understanding. He walked in front of the blood door and placed his hand on it. The surroundings fell silent in an instant. It was as if heaven and earth had stopped moving. The clouds stopped moving, the wind stopped blowing, and the light seemed to have frozen. No one knew what was going on, and they looked around curiously. Shui Bai Mei and the other elders, who were discussing Zhao Fu, sensed something, and their expressions fell. It was not just them. The elders and experts of the other sects also sensed something, and their expressions fell as they rushed out of the room. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the blood-red door exploded out with boundless blood-red light, which turned into a beam of light that seemed to be able to destroy everything and shot into the sky. An enormous blood-red pillar of light stood between the heavens and the earth, giving off a heaven-toppling aura. Everyone looked incredibly shocked. In front of this aura, they felt as small as ants, and they felt incredibly powerless. The countless experts of the blood-length sect hurried over, including Shui Bai Mei, who had just taken Zhao Fu as her disciple. She looked at the blood-red pillar in shock and asked, "What's going on?" Chapter 2676. Book 1, Chapter 121. Shui Bai Mei's face was pale as she said nervously, "I don't know either." Boom! A bald, middle-aged man gave off a terrifying aura as he descended. He belonged to another sect, which was called the Blood-Killing Sect. Every member of the Blood-Killing Sect had a powerful killing intent. They walked the Tao of slaughter and relied on the power of slaughter to grow, so their strength was extremely terrifying. Every member of the Blood-Killing Sect was bald, and the middle-aged man was the sect master of the Blood-Killing Sect, Blood Shura. The Blood-Killing Sect was one of the sects that did not send anyone to meet Zhao Fu. They knew that the Blood Demon legacy was powerful, but because they were powerful, they did not want to send anyone to meet Zhao Fu. It should be the Blood Demon legacy that came to meet them. It could be seen that the Blood-Killing Sect's members were quite arrogant. Seeing this, Blood Shura said in shock, "The Blood-Killing Sect also tests the talent of those who join. If it's a genius, it will cause some abnormal signs, but to cause such a huge phenomenon has never been seen before." Shui Bai Mei also said in shock, "This is the first time I've seen such a huge fluctuation from the Blood-Killing Sect." Blood Shura asked, "Who is this person? To be able to cause such a huge phenomenon, his potential might be above ordinary geniuses. He's a child favored by the heavens." Shui Bai Mei replied, "He's that blood demon." Blood Shura looked astonished. "He's that blood demon?" Shui Bai Mei replied, "Yes." Blood Shura said in astonishment, "I never thought that he would have such potential. I should personally meet him. Shui Bai Mei, why don't you give him to me? I'll agree to any conditions." Shui Bai Mei lightly laughed and said, "That's impossible. I'll nurture him at all costs and make him someone who can shake the entire world. I can even see him leading the Blood-Killing Sect to glory." Hearing this, Blood Shura did not retort because he believed that Zhao Fu had this ability. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions sounded out as the other sect masters arrived. The sect master of the Blood Poison Sect was an ugly but beautiful woman with an extremely seductive figure. She was called Blood Venom Woman. The sect master of the Blood Weapon Sect was an elegant middle-aged man called Blood Ghost. The leader of the Blood Beast Sect was a fierce-looking woman with short, blood-red hair and a fit figure. Her name was Murderous Bloodling. The leader of the Blood Martial Sect was a middle-aged man with a calm temperament and a beard. His name was Shui Wuzong. The leader of the Blood Crowd Sect was a wretched old man named Shui Shao. Shui Wuzong asked, "Who is this person to be able to cause such a huge commotion? I don't think I've seen him before." Shui Bai Mei smiled proudly and said, "He is Blood Demon, a disciple of my Blood Charm sect." Hearing this, the crowd was shocked. They had not expected the Blood Demon to cause such a huge commotion. Boom! A massive explosion once again sounded out as a powerful blood-red beam of light landed beside them. After the light dissipated, a young man with long, blood-red hair and a cold expression appeared. This youth was the sect leader of the Blood Immortal Sect. His name was Shui Qianyu. Although he was a youth, he was older than the other sect leaders. At the same time, he was also the strongest among the sect leaders. They controlled a type of Blood Immortals force. This Blood Immortals force was extremely powerful. When cultivated to the extreme, it could rival the immortal chi of the immortal realm. Moreover, this Blood Immortals force also had a powerful vitality. This caused the people who cultivated this Blood Immortals force to be very young. The Blood Immortal sect was the strongest sect within the Blood Elder sect. It was even stronger than the Blood Killing sect. In history, a few sect leaders had appeared from this sect. They were even more arrogant than the Blood Killing sect and often looked down on the other disciples of the Blood Elder sect. Naturally, they did not want to see Zhao Fu. They wanted Zhao Fu to beg them. Only then would they agree to let Zhao Fu join the Blood Immortal sect. Xue Qianyu said coldly, "Apart from him being the Blood Demon's inheritor, what else do you know about him?" Hearing this, the crowd looked at Xue Baimei. Now that Zhao Fu was a member of the Blood Charm sect, Xue Baimei should know some information about Zhao Fu. Xue Baimei said awkwardly, "I know that his identity is not ordinary. However, he was not willing to say, so I did not ask. As such, I do not know much about him." Xue Shura looked at Zhao Fu seriously. "Just who is he? Don't tell me that he is an ordinary person. Ordinary people definitely do not have such potential." Xue Qianyu said, "We'll ask about his identity in a bit." Looking at the blood door, Zhao Fu looked quite surprised. He had never thought that there would be such a change. The surrounding heaven and earth power was gathering, and the carvings on the blood door seemed to have come to life. Boom! A massive explosion once again sounded out as the massive blood-red pillar of light disappeared. Countless amounts of heaven and earth power flowed into the blood door, causing it to give off a shocking aura. At that moment, blood-red characters appeared in the air in front of the door, giving off a faint blood-red light. They were distributed chaotically. This was the Blood Charm sect's legacy cultivation technique. Seeing this, the sect masters all looked quite shocked. Ordinary disciples would receive the Blood Charm sect's legacy cultivation technique if they placed their hand on the door. However, the legacy cultivation technique had materialized. There was only one reason for this, and that was that the Blood Charm sect had chosen the next sect master and given the legacy power to him. However, hadn't it been Zhao Fu's first day joining the Blood Charm sect? Why had the Blood Charm sect chosen him to be the next sect master? This was simply too shocking. The blood-red characters flew towards Zhao Fu and fused into Zhao Fu's body. At the same time, a powerful legacy power flowed into Zhao Fu's body. After fusing into Zhao Fu's body, the blood-red characters once again gathered together, forming a small blood-red door. This small door was only as big as a palm and looked exactly the same as the Blood Charm sect outside. The massive legacy power also flowed into it. A trace of a smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face. He had been lacking such a powerful legacy power, and now that such a powerful legacy power had delivered itself to him, Zhao Fu had obtained it without much effort. Time slowly passed, and the ripples from the blood-red door weakened before finally disappearing. Zhao Fu retracted his hand, and a trace of a smile appeared on his face. The 8 sect masters also walked behind Zhao Fu. Seeing this, everyone understood that something big was about to happen, and Zhao Fu's identity might go through a massive change. Xue Wuya and Shi Qianhe, who had some feelings for Zhao Fu, had never thought that such a day would come. Zhao Fu turned and looked at the 8 sect masters before bowing and saying, "Greetings, sect masters." Xue Qianhua looked at Zhao Fu and asked, "Tell me your identity." Zhao Fu thought for a moment before replying, "I don't have any identity, and I won't do anything to harm the Blood Charm sect. I can promise you this." The sect masters did not believe that Zhao Fu did not have any identity, but since Zhao Fu was not willing to say it, they did not want to force Zhao Fu. Now, Zhao Fu's potential made them feel some fear. Chapter 2677. Book 1, Chapter 122. Xue Qianyu looked at Zhao Fu and said, "If you don't want to tell us, we won't ask anymore. We hope that you can keep your promise." Having such a person join the Bloodlong sect was a good thing for the Bloodlong sect. Looking at Zhao Fu's tone and appearance, he most likely had no enmity with the Bloodlong sect, so they could trust Zhao Fu this once. Zhao Fu smiled and said, "Thank you, I'll keep my promise. If I have the ability, I'll also help the Bloodlong sect." Shueqian nodded and said, "The Blood Demon sect is not like you. How about joining the Blood Immortal sect? Only in the Blood Immortal sect can your potential be fully unleashed." Shui Baimei looked at Zhao Fu worriedly. As the #1 sect in the Bloodlong sect, the Blood Immortal sect was indeed superior to the Blood Demon sect in many aspects. Shui Qianyu was also much stronger than her, so she had nothing to say about Zhao Fu joining the Blood Immortal sect. Shui Shura also said the Blood-Killing sect also welcomes you at any time. Before, the two sects had disdainfully come to see Zhao Fu, but now, the two sect masters had personally come to invite Zhao Fu. This was quite a big change. Zhao Fu smiled and said, "I'm quite satisfied with the Blood Demon sect, and don't want to go to any other sections." Shui Qinyu did not say anything else and nodded before leaving. Shui Baimei smiled and said, "I'll come and find you later." The other sect masters looked at Zhao Fu and did not say anything as they left with Shui Qinyu. The sect masters left to discuss matters regarding Zhao Fu with the elders, as this might affect the future of the Bloodlong sect. As for the people surrounding Zhao Fu, they looked at him with admiration and admiration. They now understood that Zhao Fu's position in the Bloodlong sect was quite high, and they all wanted to curry favor with Zhao Fu. Because there were too many people, Zhao Fu felt quite annoyed, so he first returned to the Blood Demon sect. In the night, Zhao Fu's door was lightly knocked. Zhao Fu opened the door and saw Shui Baimei and 10 or so beautiful women with charming auras and graceful figures smiling at him. "Senior sister, what's the matter?" Zhao Fu asked in confusion. Shui Mei glanced at Zhao Fu in a seductive manner. "What do you think would happen if we came to you at a time like this? I apologize to you today. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that." Zhao Fu chuckled and said, "It's all right." Shui Mei said with a bright smile, "Junior brother, I like you. I wonder if you can accept me as your senior sister?" A beautiful woman called Shui Mei next to him lightly laughed as she said, "Junior apprentice brother, it's not a big deal. We all like you." A woman with an alluring aura called Shui Qiao said, "Junior apprentice brother, you're simply too good-looking. This is the first time I've seen such a good-looking man. As soon as I saw you, I couldn't help but fall in love with you." The seductive and flirtatious woman was called Shui Qiao. She rolled her eyes at Zhao Fu and said, "Junior apprentice brother, we are women that all men want. Are you not happy that we have come to find you together? He even made us stand at the door." Zhao Fu turned his body sideways and made an inviting gesture. He smiled and said, "I'm naturally happy that senior sisters can come. Please come in." Shui Mei and the others entered. Late at night, someone once again knocked on Zhao Fu's door. Zhao Fu felt quite curious as he walked to the door and opened it, only to see Shui Baimei standing there. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Master, why have you come to find me?" Shui Baimei looked at the red-faced Shui Mei and the other women in Zhao Fu's room and lightly laughed as she said, "You look quite powerful." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Master, do you want to give it a try?" Shui Baimei lightly laughed as she said, Let's go." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. The two of them came to the side of a lake. The sky was deep blue, and there were 12 moons giving off bright moonlight. The lake was as calm as a mirror, reflecting the night sky. Another 2 hours later, Shui Baimei's face was red as she leaned against Zhao Fu's embrace and said softly, "We're going to talk about you today." Zhao Fu asked, "What do you plan to do with me?" Shui Baimei replied, "We don't plan to do anything. With your terrifying potential, everyone wants to keep you, and we've investigated your identity. You seem to have suddenly appeared, and we didn't find any useful information. However, we've confirmed that you're not a threat to the Bloodlong sect, so the Bloodlong sect will do their best to nurture you." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. Shui Baimei looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes and said, "The Bloodlong sect will do their best to nurture you, and Master has given you my body. You can't let them down. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Don't worry, Master. Shui Baimei looked at Zhao Fu's face and asked, Then can you tell Master your true identity? Master feels that your identity is quite extraordinary. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Apologies. I can't tell you. Shui Baimei let out a breath and said, Master doesn't want to make things difficult for you. Tomorrow, I'll list you as the Blood Demon Sex legatee. In a few days, it will be the Blood Sex trial, and you should familiarize yourself with the Blood Demon Sex arts. Don't disappoint me at that time. Zhao Fu said confidently. Understood, Master. Shui Baimei reminded, Even though your potential is shocking, don't be too confident. The other sects also have a few legatees who are very powerful. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. With Zhao Fu's current strength, ordinary Holy Sons wouldn't be a match for him, let alone the geniuses of the Bloodlong sect. It wasn't that Zhao Fu was arrogant and did not put them in his eyes, but that they were too weak compared to Zhao Fu. Yo, I didn't clean up the two of you, right? A voice suddenly sounded out, causing Zhao Fu's expression to change. Shui Baimei had an awkward expression because she had not sensed anyone approaching. The Blood Beast sect master, Blood Murderous Bell, smiled as she walked in front of the two of them, while Zhao Fu and Shui Baimei put on their clothes and stood up. Shui Baimei asked, What business do you have here? Zhao Fu understood that this was a higher being expert. No wonder he had not sensed her approaching, and he let out a sigh of relief. Blood Murderous Bell stretched out a hand and lifted Zhao Fu's chin. You're too good-looking. Even I'm somewhat moved by you. Come and serve Martial Uncle. Facing a higher being, Zhao Fu fell helpless, and he looked at Shui Baimei. Shui Baimei smiled and said, Murderous Bell, I never thought that you would be interested in such things. Disciple, serve your Martial Uncle well. Zhao Fu had a helpless expression. After a while, Shui Baimei looked at Blood Murderous Bell, who was lying on the other side of Zhao Fu, and said, Can you tell me what business you have? Blood Murderous Bell smiled and said, It's nothing much, I was just passing by. Shui Baimei rolled her eyes at Blood Murderous Bell and said, I thought you had something important to say. The Murderous Blood Bell asked, What do you think happened to me? Shui Baimei said, I thought that you were here to form an alliance. With my disciple's potential, he might become the next gate master of the Blood sect. I want to obtain your support. Blood Fierce Bell said with a smile, The Bloodlong sect has been established for a long time, but there have only been 4 Bloodlong sect masters. Each of them has changed the fate of the Bloodlong sect. Are you sure that he can become the Bloodlong sect master? Chapter 2678. Book 1, Chapter 123. Killing Shui Baimei laughed as she said, I'm confident about this. You've seen the ripples caused by my disciple. With such potential, how can he not become the gate master? The Blood Murderous Bell said, It's hard to say. The leader of the Blood Elder Gate does not rely on potential, but true strength. For example, the previous leader of the Blood Elder Gate did not have much potential, but he comprehended a stronger profound, and in the end, became the leader of the Blood Elder Gate. Also, the Gate Master has always been a member of the Blood Immortal sect. Can another sect produce a Gate Master? I'm quite curious about this. Shui Baimei's gaze was resolute as she said, I believe in my disciple's abilities. He will definitely break this tradition and become the Gate Master. You two couldn't help but do such a thing with him. Another voice sounded out. Everyone saw a voluptuous woman wearing a long dress. Her face was red and blue, and she looked quite ugly. She was the Blood Poison Sect's Gate Master, the Blood Vindictive Woman. The Blood Murderous Bell lightly laughed as she said, There's nothing I can do about it. His face is too good. If he did not have such great potential, I would have made him my boy toy. Shui Baimei laughed as she said, You don't want to try? That feeling will make you fall. Even though the Blood Vindictive Woman's body was quite alluring, looking at her ugly face, Zhao Fu not only did not feel any interest, but he also felt quite disgusted as he said, Master, let's not. The Blood Vindictive Woman had wanted to refuse, but seeing how Zhao Fu looked down on her, she felt quite angry. She hated people treating her like this, so she coldly harumphed as she pressed Zhao Fu onto the ground and started to ravage Zhao Fu. The blood-murderous Belle and Shui Bai Mei stared at the blood-vindictive woman, who seemed to have gone mad. However, something shocking happened. The blood-vindictive woman's body gave off a black and blood-red aura, causing the grass around her to wither and the ground to turn black. This black and blood-red aura was extremely poisonous. The blood-vindictive woman also started to change. Her blue and red skin became snow-white and tender, and she did not look as ugly. Soon, she became a beautiful and mature woman. What's going on? The murderous Blood Belle and Shui Bai Mei were surprised. They had no idea what was going on. The blood vial woman looked at her own changes and gave a delighted smile. She glanced at Zhao Fu and asked, "What kind of power do you have? How can it expel the toxins in my body?" Shui Bai Mei said in shock, "The toxins in the blood poison sect bodies are blood poison, and it is almost impossible to get rid of them. How is it possible to get rid of them after doing this with you?" What was even more shocking was that the poison that came out of the blood poison woman's body did not dissipate. Instead, it surged into Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu was completely fine, and he continued to absorb the blood poison. This was a poison that had accumulated in an almighty being's body for many years. Ordinary almighty beings would be poisoned if they came into contact with it, and in serious cases, they might even die. Zhao Fu sighed, "I can't tell you that." This blood poison had been absorbed by the first evil immortal bloodline within Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu had not taken the initiative to absorb it, but the first evil immortal bloodline had absorbed it on its own. It seemed to be very useful. Zhao Fu guessed that the blood poison was related to the blood attribute, and it was something that the first evil immortal bloodline needed. The blood vial woman coldly harumphed, "You asked for it." After a while, Shui Bai Mei looked at the blood vial woman, who was lying on the ground, and could not help but laugh as she said, "I already warned you, but you still don't know your mistakes." The blood vial woman's face became red, and she no longer had the strength to speak. Shui Bai Mei smiled as she said, "How about the two of you support my disciple to become the sect master? I can have my disciple serve you every day." Zhao Fu knew that Shui Bai Mei was doing this for his own good, but he felt quite uncomfortable. It was as if he was a toy that anyone could play with. The blood vial woman thought about it and said, "If he has the strength to defeat those people, I can support him to become the sect master." The blood vial woman recovered some of her strength and said, "As long as he can tell me how to get rid of the blood poison in my body, I can also support him to become the sect master. This is too important to us." Shui Bai Mei looked at Zhao Fu and said, "Disciple, what is the reason? If two sect masters are willing to support you, it will be very beneficial for you." Zhao Fu thought about it and said, "This is related to my constitution, which can absorb blood poison." The blood vial woman felt quite disappointed. She had thought that Zhao Fu had some tricks up his sleeves. Their blood vial sect had been looked down upon and mocked because of their appearance. Ugliness was the blood vial sect's people's biggest worry, and if this could be resolved, the blood vial sect would go crazy with joy. The blood vial woman continued to ask, "How much more poison can you absorb now?" Even though the blood poison could raise the first evil immortal bloodline's power, it would take some time, and absorbing too much would affect the body. Zhao Fu sensed that his body had absorbed enough poison from a higher being's body and replied, "My cultivation is too low, and I've absorbed enough poison." "Oh," the blood vial woman replied in disappointment. Her hopes being shattered made her feel quite uncomfortable. Seeing how disappointed she looked, Zhao Fu thought to himself and said, "If you can call me husband, I might be able to resolve this matter." The blood vial woman asked in delight, "Really?" Zhao Fu nodded. The blood vial woman immediately gave up on her dignity and hugged Zhao Fu affectionately as she called out, "Husband!" This scene made Shui Bai Mei and the blood vial Belle feel quite amused. They understood the blood vial woman's personality. She was incredibly vicious to ordinary people, and anyone who offended her would be poisoned to death. However, she was hugging Zhao Fu like a little wife. Zhao Fu had just been ravaged by the blood vial woman, and he let out a sigh of relief as he smiled and said, I can use a portion of my power to create a magic formation that will be able to clear the blood poison within your bodies. The blood vial woman felt quite surprised as she asked, It's that simple? Zhao Fu smiled as he asked, What do you think? The blood vial woman smiled as she said, I was thinking too hard. You're our blood poison sect's lucky star. Come with me to the blood poison sect right now. And if you can really clear the poison within our blood poison sect's people, I'll even serve you. Zhao Fu felt quite surprised as he smiled and asked, Right now? The blood vial woman nodded. The blood poison has troubled our blood poison sect for countless years, and now that we can finally resolve it, I don't want to wait for even a single moment. Shueb Baimei smiled as she said, It's almost daybreak, so let's go. Disciple, if you can really resolve this matter, you'll be the blood poison sect's greatest benefactor, and countless people will support you to become the blood poison sect's sect master. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, All right, let's go now. Following this, a piece of news shocked countless people in the blood poison sect. After hearing about this, no one felt sleepy, and they ran out without even wearing shoes. After hearing about this, the other sects felt quite shocked. Chapter 2679. Book 1. Chapter 124. Is this true? There's actually someone who can deal with the blood poison sect's poison? I don't know, but this is a problem that the blood poison sect has always wanted to solve. If it can be solved, the blood poison sect will go crazy with joy. Yes, because of the blood poison, everyone in the blood poison sect has become extremely ugly. Their appearance is what they care about the most. Haha, I'm so happy. As long as I'm not so ugly, I'll do anything. Me too. I was originally quite good-looking, but because of the blood toxin, I became ugly. No matter where I went, people would look at me strangely. Some people even call me ugly behind my back. You can't imagine how uncomfortable it was. The blood poison sect is indeed powerful, but it's a pity that they have to pay the price for their appearance. If they can solve the problem of their appearance, the blood poison sect will definitely have more members. Many people don't want to join the blood poison sect because of their appearance. Please don't be fake. Heavens, I'm begging you. This is my only hope. When the blood poison sect's people heard about this, they quickly came to the platform. Their clothes were messy, and their hair was messy, but they all looked nervous and excited. A man with half of his face swelled up and turned purple looked at the beautiful blood-venomous woman and asked in shock, Venomous woman, how did you become so beautiful? Is there really a way to solve the problem of the blood poison? Everyone stared at the blood-venomous woman. The blood-venomous woman smiled and nodded. I found a way to solve the blood poison. A seductive woman with bun hair and a bumpy face said, What method is it? Tell us quickly, we can't wait. Everyone else also could not wait and said, That's right, tell us quickly. The blood-venomous woman smiled as she said, This person beside me can solve the blood poison. He was the one who removed it. Everyone looked at Zhao Fu. The man with purple skin looked at Zhao Fu and asked, What method can you use to remove the blood poison in our bodies? Zhao Fu said, I have the ability to absorb blood poison. I can set up a magic formation to absorb the blood poison. The man with purple skin felt quite surprised. The problem that had troubled the blood poison sect for countless years was solved just like that? The man asked uncertainly, Is it true? Zhao Fu nodded. I think there should be no problem. The blood vial woman, who was beside Zhao Fu, said with a smile, He used some other method to suck out the blood toxins in my body. Although it wasn't an array, I believe you should be able to do it. The sexy woman looked at the blood vial woman's flushed face and said with a playful smile, What method did he use? You didn't do that with him? The blood venom lady did not mind and smiled as she said, And I used this one. The seductive woman looked at Zhao Fu's peerless looks and said, I also want to use this method. A woman with a seductive figure, but was also quite ugly, said with a smile, You shouldn't enjoy such a good thing for yourself. I also want to use this method. The gloomy woman said coldly, I also use this method, and I feel that it is more useful. The voluptuous woman hesitated for a moment. I also want to use this method. An ugly youth at the side called out in dissatisfaction, Mother, You can't choose this method, I object. This ugly youth was Shue Sandu, who had some enmity with Zhao Fu. Shue Sandu was quite displeased that Zhao Fu had chosen the blood demon sect, so he had said some unpleasant things. However, he had never thought that Zhao Fu would cause such a huge commotion and even solve the problem of the blood poison sect's poison. Now that he heard that his mother wanted to have a relationship with Zhao Fu, he definitely did not want to agree. After all, wouldn't Zhao Fu become his father? Seeing how opposed Shue Sandu was, the voluptuous woman thought about it and said, "All right, I'll use another method." The man with purple skin said impatiently, "Let's hurry up and see if it works." Zhao Fu nodded and waved his hand, causing countless bottles of blood to fly out and float in the air. Explosions sounded out as the bottles of blood shattered and countless orbs of blood floated in the air. Zhao Fu squatted down and pressed a hand against the ground, causing the countless orbs of blood to fall down and spread out. Under the control of a wave of energy, they formed a blood-red magic formation that was 3 meters wide and gave off a faint blood-red light. Zhao Fu said, "Who wants to try first?" The man with purple skin laughed as he called out, "I'll go first." The man with purple skin laughed as he walked to the center of the blood-red magic formation. Everyone looked at the man with purple skin in anticipation, hoping that Zhao Fu would be able to deal with the blood poison. This was their only hope. Boom! Zhao Fu pressed against the ground, and a wave of the 8 forbidden blood arts power flowed out and entered the blood-red magic formation, causing it to explode out with shocking power. Arg! The purple-skinned man cried out in pain. He felt a huge suction force pulling at his body. It was as if his body was going to be torn apart. This suction force came from all directions. His body felt like it was going to be torn into pieces. Everyone's expressions fell as they looked at the man with purple skin in pain. However, waves of blood-red aura were being sucked out by the suction force. This blood-red aura was the blood-red poison, and seeing that it was possible, everyone smiled happily and could not help but cry out in excitement. The waves of blood-red aura were continuously sucked out and entered the blood-red magic formation. Zhao Fu's body could no longer absorb the blood poison, so he condensed the blood poison in front of him, forming a round blood-red jade that was the size of a green bean. The blood poison within the man with purple skin's body was continuously sucked out, and the blood-red jade continuously grew larger. The man with purple skin's appearance also slowly changed, and he no longer looked as ugly as before. After a while, the last bit of the blood poison was sucked out, and the man with purple skin became a fair-skinned young man. This caused the countless people from the blood poison sect to become even more excited, and the scene became quite lively. This meant that they would no longer be so ugly and would no longer be looked at strangely. The other people from the blood poison sect also had expressions of shock. Among them were Shi Qianhe, Shui Wuya, Shui Fulong, and the others. When the other sect leaders heard the news, they also rushed over, and they also had expressions of shock. The man with purple skin looked at his own transformation, and his face was full of smiles as he sincerely bowed to Zhao Fu. "Many thanks. In the future, if you have any problems, just come and find me." Zhao Fu put away the egg-sized blood-red jade that had condensed in front of him and smiled as he said, "You're welcome." Another young man ran over and said hurriedly, "I'm the second one." Zhao Fu said, "This is just a trace of the magic formation. Whether or not it can absorb the poison, there are so many people in the blood poison sect, and I alone cannot absorb all of them. I will build more magic formations in the next few days, and we will end here for today." Hearing this, everyone was slightly disappointed, but they were still very happy and grateful to Zhao Fu. Now, Zhao Fu had undoubtedly become the most popular person in the blood poison sect. Chapter 2680, Volume 1, Chapter 125, Help. The blood-venomous woman walked over to Zhao Fu and smiled. "Just tell me what you want. My blood poison sect will support you fully." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. The other sect leaders also walked over and congratulated the blood-venomous woman. The matter of her ugly appearance had been resolved, which was a joyous matter. In the future, the blood poison sect would no longer have any flaws. The other sect leaders looked at Zhao Fu with even more respect and admiration. He had helped them resolve a huge problem by coming to the blood poison sect. If they didn't nurture Zhao Fu now, they would be embarrassed. Shui Yuo glared at Zhao Fu and said angrily, "Didn't you say that my blood martial sect would resolve the problem of losing essence blood? You came here to help others." The blood martial sect's sect master, Shui Wuzong, was startled. "Wait, you can resolve our blood martial sect's flaw?" Shui Yuo said, "Sect master, he can help us obtain a blood devil spirit body. He can give our bodies the blood demon spirit body. As long as we have the blood demon spirit body, we won't lack blood essence. We can fight as much as we want without any repercussions." Shui Wuzong happily said, "Come, let's go to my blood martial sect." The other sect masters were all flabbergasted. They hadn't expected Zhao Fu to have such ability to resolve their blood martial sect's flaw. If he could resolve the blood martial sect's flaw, then the blood martial sect's battle strength would rise by several levels. Furthermore, there would be no hidden dangers. That was a joyous matter. Shui Wuzong was impatient. Zhao Fu awkwardly said, "I still haven't condensed a blood devil stone, so I can't help you transform it. First, you can build a blood pool according to my requirements. That way, there won't be any need to build another one." Shui Wuzong smiled. "No problem. I'll have to trouble you with this." Now, Traceless Blood felt a trace of respect toward Zhao Fu, who had solved the blood martial sect's problem. Even though there was a massive difference in their cultivations, Zhao Fu had won his respect. The other sect leaders also began to view Zhao Fu with even greater importance. Zhao Fu felt that this was a good opportunity to gather essence blood. "I need different kinds of essence blood to condense blood devil stones and blood-sucking stones. I hope you can help me gather them." Shui Wuzong smiled. "No problem. I'll give the order immediately." Shui Wuzong smiled. "No problem. I'll give the order." Following this, Zhao Fu returned to his room and started to condense blood demon stones and vampiric stones. This was quite easy for Zhao Fu. He only needed to condense his blood demon power and essence blood to create blood demon stones. The blood-sucking stone was to pour the 8 forbidden blood into his essence blood. Blood devil art. Blood-sucking Wuzong Long, 6, Zhao Fu 1, 611 and 1 Fu and 1111 Zhao Fu 1. At night, just as Zhao Fu was about to rest and recover, someone knocked on his door. Zhao Fu opened the door and saw that it was the blood vial woman and a few other women. The cold-looking woman was Shui Yin. The seductive woman was Shui Ruining. The bewitching woman was Shui Xiao Xiao, and Shui Sandu's mother, Shui Luqing. Even though the other two were also ugly, they had outstanding auras, and they were called Shui Qian and Shui Bai. Even though Zhao Fu liked beautiful women, facing their ugly appearances, Zhao Fu could not accept it. The blood vial woman changed her usual viciousness and said softly, "Husband, you're tired today. You are tired today, so we specially came to serve you." Looking at the blood vial woman, Zhao Fu did not refuse and nodded. He could use the 6 desires demonic qi to recover his strength, and even though these women were quite ugly, they would all be very beautiful after dispelling the poison. As such, Zhao Fu could only endure it for now. A few hours later, Zhao Fu smiled as he hugged the many beautiful women, and the beautiful women's faces were red as they intimately hugged Zhao Fu. The blood vial woman smiled as she asked softly, "Husband, are you satisfied with us?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Mem, I'm very satisfied." Shui Sandu's mother, Shui Luqing, said apologetically, "I already know about the matter between you and my son, and I apologize on his behalf. I hope you don't mind." Shui Luqing had a relationship with Zhao Fu partly because she wanted to curry favor with Zhao Fu. Without a doubt, Zhao Fu would become the most important person in the blood sect, and her son had offended Zhao Fu and definitely would not have a good ending. Zhao Fu evilly laughed as he said, "Based on your performance just then, I won't mind." Shui Luqing's face became bright red, and she shyly nodded. The next day, Zhao Fu came to the blood poison sect feeling refreshed, and he was followed by the blood vial woman and a few other beautiful women. Under Zhao Fu's request, the blood poison sect had set up blood-red magic formations, and now they just had to install the blood-sucking stones within them. Seeing her mother become beautiful and following behind Zhao Fu, Shui Sandu knew what had happened, and she looked quite bitter. Zhao Fu handed the blood-sucking stones to the blood vial woman, and the blood vial woman gave the stones to the others and had them install them on the magic formations. The magic formations were activated and gave off a faint blood-red light. Everyone lined up and walked into the magic formations, and the blood poison within their bodies was continuously sucked out and condensed into blood-red jades. Zhao Fu said, "Help me collect these blood-red jades." The blood vial woman looked at the poison being sucked out of countless people's bodies and happily smiled as she nodded. This blood poison was quite useful to Zhao Fu. Not only could it increase Zhao Fu's power, but it could also give Zhao Fu the ability to use blood poison. This blood poison was very difficult for higher beings to get rid of, and it was a terrifying power. Zhao Fu would also obtain great benefits by helping the blood poison sect, and this was a win-win situation for both sides. Suddenly, Zhao Fu wondered if he could obtain the blood poison sect's legacy as well as the blood ghost sect's legacy. To Zhao Fu, the more legacies he had, the better. That way, it would be more likely for him to awaken the outer world's supreme Emperor Star. Thinking about that, Zhao Fu asked, "Where is the blood poison sect's legacy gate?" The blood vial woman looked quite surprised. "What is it?" Zhao Fu said, "I want to see if I can obtain the blood poison sect's legacy." The blood vial woman smiled as she said, "That's impossible. You can only join one sect. Only if you become one of the top 10 disciples in a legacy faction will you be able to obtain the other sect's legacies." Zhao Fu understood and nodded. It was possible for him to obtain the other 7 legacies, because if others could obtain them, he would definitely be able to obtain them. After looking around, Zhao Fu said, "There's nothing for me to do here. I'll go to the blood marshal sect side." The blood vial woman smiled and nodded. Following this, Zhao Fu went to the blood marshal sect side. By now, countless people from the blood marshal sect were waiting on a flat piece of land, looking incredibly excited. The problem that had troubled the blood marshal sect for countless years was going to be resolved today. This was a historic moment for the blood marshal sect. Chapter 2681. Book 1. Zhao Fu was stunned. Shui Wuzong smiled as he handed a spatial ring to Zhao Fu and said, "These are the 100,000 types of essence blood that I've collected for you. See if you've satisfied the requirements." 100,000 essence blood was enough to raise the first evil immortal bloodline to the 4th stage, and Zhao Fu said in delight, "Thank you." Shui Wuzong smiled as he said, "You're welcome. We should be the ones thanking you." Zhao Fu gave the condensed blood demon stones to Shui Wuzong and set them at the bottom of the blood pool before pouring a large amount of blood into the pool. Anyone who entered would obtain a blood demon spirit body. Shui Wuzong nodded and took the blood demon stones and ordered people to set them at the bottom of the blood pool before pouring buckets of blood into it. A handsome young man took off his clothes and said excitedly, "I'll be the first to try." The young man entered the blood pool and countless drops of blood revolved around him. Massive amounts of blood energy flowed into his body, causing his body to give off boundless blood-red light as he started to slowly transform. Boom! A massive aura spread out for the young man's body as a blood demon mark appeared on his back. He had successfully obtained a blood demon spirit body. The young man happily walked out of the blood pool and everyone surrounded him, asking him how he felt. The young man smiled as he said, "This feeling is very powerful, and I have greater control over my blood. Moreover, I can now turn other essence blood into my own, so I won't have to worry about losing essence blood and can fight without any worries." Hearing this, everyone else excitedly entered the blood pool. Seeing this, a happy smile appeared on Shui Wuzong's face, and he turned and bowed as he said sincerely, "Many thanks." He was completely convinced by Zhao Fu's abilities and had won his respect. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "You're welcome." Now that Zhao Fu had helped the Blood Martial sect solve the problem that had troubled them for countless years, they felt great gratitude and respect toward Zhao Fu, causing Zhao Fu to become the most popular person in the Blood Martial sect. Both sects treated Zhao Fu this way. Zhao Fu's status in the Bloodlong sect had increased, which made the other sects pay more attention to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not devour the 100,000 blood essences immediately, because the phenomenon would expose his identity. He planned to devour them after he left the Blood Dragon Gate. At this time, Shui Baimei found Zhao Fu. "Disciple, you are so strong. Can you solve the problem of our Blood Charm sect?" Zhao Fu asked curiously. "Does the Blood Charm Gate have any flaws?" Shui Baimei said coquettishly, "You are the next sect master that I have chosen. You have also obtained the inheritance of the Blood Demon sect. Why didn't you cultivate the Blood Demon sect's inheritance cultivation technique?" Zhao Fu looked quite awkward. He was only interested in the inheritance power and was not interested in the Blood Demon sect's cultivation technique at all. As such, he naturally could not cultivate it. Zhao Fu looked at the Blood Demon sect's inheritance cultivation technique in his body and found a problem. The Blood Demon sect's blood charm technique relied on blood to charm others, which was very powerful. It could directly affect the blood in others' bodies and was very difficult to defend against. Not only did it require powerful mental energy, but it also required powerful bloodline power. However, using the blood charm technique had a flaw, which was that after using the blood charm technique, one's defense would be very weak and one would be easily injured. How could this be solved? Zhao Fu frowned. Shui Baimei looked at Zhao Fu and asked caringly, "How is it? Is it very difficult?" Zhao Fu nodded. "After using the blood charm technique, one's defense and perception will decrease. I have not thought of a way to solve this." Shui Baimei said disappointedly. "Oh." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Why do I feel like I'm the master and you're the disciple? Have you thought of a way to solve this?" Shui Baimei lightly laughed as she said, "Your ability is too special and too powerful. The problem that we have not been able to solve is solved by you very easily. We admit that we are inferior to you, but your true identity far surpasses our expectations." Zhao Fu smiled. He could tell that Shui Baimei wanted to know his identity, but Zhao Fu did not tell her. Even though Zhao Fu and Shui Baimei had sex, the six desires demonic qi could not control higher beings. If Shui Baimei wanted to kill Zhao Fu, the six desires demonic qi within her body would not be able to stop her. Seeing that Zhao Fu was smiling and not saying anything, Shui Baimei felt quite disappointed. She did not continue asking and smiled as she said, "Think of a way to solve our blood demon sect's defense." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I've already thought of one." Shui Baimei looked quite surprised, so fast. Zhao Fu smiled as he nodded. Shui Baimei said happily, "What is it?" Zhao Fu explained, "The blood demon legacy has something called a blood spirit, which can fuse with your own blood and give it its own consciousness. It can help the blood demon sect defend against attacks, sense its surroundings, and increase its power." Shui Baimei excitedly asked, "How can we obtain a blood spirit?" Zhao Fu said, "That's quite troublesome. We first need to build a massive blood pond, countless wild beasts, and a spiritual god statue." Shui Baimei said, "Building a massive blood pond and countless wild beasts is not a problem. What's a spiritual god statue?" Zhao Fu explained, "We need a blood god statue to use as the core of magic formation to give the blood spirit spirituality." Shui Baimei frowned. "Godly spirits are quite rare in the outer world, and there are countless godly spirits in the heaven-awakened world's godly world. Would it be useful to capture a blood god?" Zhao Fu looked at Shui Baimei. Shui Baimei felt quite strange as she asked, "What is it?" Shui Baimei did not know that Zhao Fu was from the heaven-awakened world and not from the outer world, and the two worlds were enemies. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "It's nothing. I can deal with the god statue. I'm a godly spirit myself." Shui Baimei looked quite shocked. You're also a godly spirit? Godly spirits were incredibly rare in the outer world, as it was very difficult to give birth to godly spirits in this desolate, chaotic, and disorderly source energy. However, once a godly spirit was born, it would be an incredibly terrifying and powerful godly spirit, and they were called innate godly spirits. These innate godly spirits appeared when the outer world was born and had innate chaos divine power. The heaven-awakened world's godly spirits could not compare to them at all, and only the godly world's 24 creator gods could compare to them. After countless years, innate godly spirits had become incredibly rare, and it was difficult to even see some higher beings, which was why Shui Baimei was so shocked. However, Zhao Fu was not an innate godly spirit from the outer world, but a heaven-awakened world's godly spirit. However, because of the number 1 evil celestial bloodline, he could release divine power. This divine power was definitely different from the outer world's chaos divine power, but he only needed a god statue as the core of the magic formation. There was no need for him to find an innate godly spirit from the outer world. Chapter 2682. Book 1. Chapter 127. Shui Baimei treated Zhao Fu as an innate god, but Zhao Fu didn't explain and smiled as he said, "Go and prepare. I also want to create a statue of a god." Shui Baimei smiled charmingly and said, "And Master will repay you properly tonight." Following this, Zhao Fu stayed in his room and used his blood to condense a statue of a god, while Shui Baimei ordered people to build a massive lake of blood and capture all kinds of beast-like insects. The news came immediately. A gentle-looking young man said in shock, "What? Could Lord Blood Demon solve the Blood Demon's sex flaw? This is too powerful." A tall woman happily laughed and said, "I really like this Lord Blood Devil. Not only is he so handsome, his abilities are also so outstanding. If he can become the blood sect master, I will definitely support him." A middle-aged man said calmly, "This blood demon is too shocking. Not only did he solve the problems of the blood poison sect and the blood martial sect, but he is also going to solve the problem of the blood demon sect. I really admire him." A beautiful woman smiled and said, "Our blood-long sect did not accept a disciple, but a lucky star. I support him becoming the blood-long sect master." A young man shouted in excitement, "I'm a member of the Blood Martial sect. Now that I have obtained the Blood Demon spirit body, Lord Blood Demon has done me a great favor. I am willing to follow Lord Blood Demon and will never betray him. I really hope that Lord Blood Demon can win." The other sect leaders also found Shui Baimei. Blood-killing sect master, Blood Azura, asked, "Does he really have a way to solve the Blood Demon sect's flaw?" Shui Baimei smiled and nodded. He said that this method would work, so I believe it should work. The Blood Tool sect master, Shui Ge, said enviously, "Your Blood Charm sect has really picked up a treasure. Wait till he's done with your Blood Charm sect, then he can come to my Blood Tool sect to have a look." The leader of the Blood General sect, Shui Xiao, said with a smile, "Everyone belongs to the Blood General sect, so we should help each other. My Blood General sect also welcomes him to join us." Blood Azura nodded. "I would also like to invite him over. You all know that our blood-killing sect also has a huge flaw. It would be great if we could solve it." The sect master of the Blood Immortal sect, Shui Qianyu, also put down his arrogant attitude and said, "I also want him to visit my Blood Immortal sect." Shui Baimei said with a smile, "No problem." Shui Baimei suddenly thought of something and said proudly, "I forgot to mention, he is also an innate god." Everyone was shocked. Shui Qianyu was a little unsettled as he asked, "Is this real or fake? I haven't heard any news about innate gods for so many years. I thought they had already disappeared from the chaotic world." Shui Baimei lightly smiled and said, "Of course it's true. He told me personally." Blood Azura said in a deep voice, "If he really is an innate deity, then his identity is far more shocking than we imagined. You'd better find out his true identity as soon as possible." Shui Baimei sighed. "I've already probed him a few times, but he is unwilling to tell me his true identity." We should not force him. He has helped us a lot, so we should be grateful to him. If he is unwilling to tell us, then so be it. Xueqian said, the key is that he has such a terrifying identity. Why did he come back to our blood-long sect? What is his motive? Hearing this, everyone became quite serious. Shueval woman said, I think we should stop guessing. He said that he would not harm our blood-long sect, and if we really offend him, it will be disadvantageous to the blood-long sect. Shuebaime also nodded. No matter what, there is no need to offend him. Another day later, the massive blood pond was completed. It was thousands of meters wide and 100 meters deep, and the ground was covered with a layer of blood jade. There were also 4 massive blood demon statues around the blood pond, and they were spread out in 4 directions. Zhao Fu came to the bottom of the blood pool and squatted down as he pressed a hand on the ground. A massive blood power spread out, and a massive blood-red magic formation appeared, giving off boundless blood-red light. Following this, Zhao Fu took out a statue of a man wearing a cloak. It was not carved with Zhao Fu's appearance, and it was made of a blood crystal that was condensed by Zhao Fu's blood and poured in a portion of his divine power. After taking out the statue, Zhao Fu pressed it on the ground, and the statue slowly fused into the blood-red magic formation, causing the blood-red magic formation to give off an even more powerful aura. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as a blood-red ray of light containing immense power shot into the sky. A massive cloaked figure slowly appeared in the sky, giving off a heaven-toppling divine might. Countless people felt a sense of powerlessness, and their souls wanted to devoutly kneel and worship. Zhao Fu's eyes lit up as he looked at Zhao Fu. Shui Gue said in shock, "Is this the innate god race's divine power? This power makes even me feel a trace of fear." Shui Qianyu said seriously, "This divine power doesn't feel like innate chaos divine power." Everyone looked at Shui Qianyu in shock. Shui Qianyu said seriously, "When I was young, I followed my teacher to see the innate god race and know about their divine power. This divine power doesn't feel like innate chaos divine power." Shui Wuzong asked, "Then he doesn't want to be an innate god race?" Shui Qianyu shook his head. "He might be 10 times stronger than the innate god race. This divine power is 10 times stronger than the innate chaos divine power. This divine power is the supreme divine power of the chaos world." Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Shui Xiao swallowed his saliva. "Then who is he? How can he have a supreme divine power that we can't even touch?" Zhao Fu's million gods power was a fusion of 2 different levels of supreme divine power. It was even stronger than ordinary supreme divine power. It was the highest and strongest power that Zhao Fu possessed. Shui Baimei said, "Could he be the legendary son of Chaos?" Blood Azura shook his head. "The son of Chaos is a member of the Origin clan. He should possess the pure power of the Origin of Chaos, which is the supreme divine power. They are 2 different powers. He probably isn't the son of Chaos, but I think his status is no less than that of the Origin clan." Shui Qianyu said, "Yes, I think so too. From now on, our blood-long sect will try our best to please him and satisfy everything he wants. We must not offend him." Shueval woman said, "If his identity is so terrifying, it would explain why the things that we can't solve are so easy for him. So we are not on the same level." Shui Baimei smiled and said, "Now that I know his identity, I feel more at ease." At this moment, the huge figure disappeared and the surroundings returned to normal. Everyone recovered from their shock. Zhao Fu walked in front of the various sect leaders, and the way they looked at Zhao Fu had changed. Tianjin. Chapter 2683. Book 1, Chapter 128. Blood Spirit Zhao Fu came before the various sect leaders and said, "Now, throw in the various insects that you have captured, and this blood pool will automatically give birth to blood spirits." Shui Baimei smiled and nodded, and she ordered people to throw in different insects. These insects were beast-shaped, such as cows, pigs, horses, tigers, lions, and the like, as beast-shaped insects were the best for blood spirits. The countless insects that were thrown into the blood pool were enveloped by boundless blood-red light, and the insects gave off miserable cries as their bodies started to melt into a pool of blood. The massive deity statue in the sky gave off boundless divine light that shone on the blood pool, causing it to continuously change, churn, and boil. Roars sounded out from the bottom of the blood pool, as if there were countless creatures howling at the bottom of the blood pool. As time passed, the blood pool gradually calmed down, and the howls disappeared. The deity statue also disappeared, and the surroundings returned to normal. Zhao Fu said, "Who will be the first to go up and drip your blood into the blood pool to sign a blood contract with blood spirits?" Xue Baimei smiled expectantly and said, "As the sect leader of the blood charm sect, I will give it a try." Xue Baimei came to the side of the blood pool and cut her finger, letting a drop of blood drip into the blood pool. The bottom of the blood pool gave off a blood-red light, and a fist-sized ball of blood slowly flew up and fused into Xue Baimei's body. Following this, Xue Baimei came to Zhao Fu's side and asked curiously, "Is this a blood spirit? It feels a bit strange that there's an extra thing in my body, and it's too weak." Zhao Fu lightly smiled and said, "You are a higher being, and to you, the blood spirits that you nurture are naturally very weak. Originally, blood spirits do not have much power when they are just born, and they will grow with you, protect you, and strengthen you." Xue Baimei nodded, and she asked the others to go up and drip their blood into the blood pool, obtaining their own blood spirits. After obtaining their own blood spirits, everyone looked excited and moved, and they were not as disappointed as Xue Baimei. Blood Azura immediately said, "Can you come to my blood-killing sect to take a look?" Zhao Fu was stunned. "What's wrong?" Blood Azura explained. "Our blood-killing sect also has a weakness. Because we rely on killing to grow, it's easy for us to become immersed in it and turn into a monster that only knows how to kill. I wonder if you can solve this problem?" Zhao Fu thought for a moment. "Bring me there," Blood Azura said with a smile. "Well, thank you." The other sect masters also followed Zhao Fu to the blood-killing sect out of curiosity. They wanted to see if Zhao Fu had the ability to solve the blood-killing sect's problems. The disciples of the blood murder sect were gathered on the platform. There were so many of them that they formed a dense mass. Every single one of them was bald and had a cold expression on their faces, exuding a strong killing intent. Zhao Fu sensed the intense killing intent and said, "I've thought of a way." Blood Azura was delighted and asked, "What is it?" The other sect chiefs also smiled. Blood-killing sect problem was indeed not difficult for Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu said, "I will give the blood-killing sect a blood sword. This blood sword can suppress the killing intent in your body." Blood Azura said, "The method of suppressing killing intent has been used by the blood-killing sect in the past. Firstly, the killing intent of the blood-killing sect is too strong and difficult to suppress. Secondly, even if it is suppressed, it will suppress the growth of the blood-killing sect, which is not beneficial to the development of the blood-killing sect." Zhao Fu said with a smile, "I've already thought of this. Moreover, this method of mine will also help the blood-killing sect grow." Blood Azura was surprised and asked, "What method?" Zhao Fu smiled. "First, prepare a sword and a large amount of fresh blood. I will infuse my killing intent with the power of blood to form a blood sword." Blood Azura asked curiously, "Your killing intent?" The others also looked at Zhao Fu strangely. Generally, people with strong killing intent were cold, and their bodies instinctively carried a killing intent. However, they did not sense any killing intent from Zhao Fu. It did not seem like he had a strong killing intent. Zhao Fu said with a smile, "You guys don't believe me?" Blood Azura smiled awkwardly and said, "It's not that we don't believe you, but we can't sense the killing intent in your body." Zhao Fu said confidently, "Just follow my instructions, and I will let you experience my killing intent." Blood Azura nodded. The current situation was very strange. They were all almighties, and Zhao Fu should be respectful to them. However, these almighties were being polite to Zhao Fu. It was as if Zhao Fu was the leader. Anyone who saw this scene would definitely be shocked. After half a day, Blood Azura had prepared 100,000 swords and countless blood bottles, according to Zhao Fu's instructions. These swords were piled up on the platform, forming a small hill. The same was true for the blood bottles. Zhao Fu stood in front of the pile of swords while the other sect masters looked curiously at Zhao Fu from afar. They wanted to see Zhao Fu's killing intent. Countless people from the blood-killing sect were watching from aside. A cold-looking youth looked at a youth who was about the same age as him and said, "Can this person really solve the problem of our blood-killing sect?" His name was Xueqi Sha, and he was the person that Blood Azura valued the most. He was also the strongest among the younger generation of the blood-killing sect. The youth beside him said, "This person has solved the problems of the blood poison sect, the blood martial sect, and the blood demon sect. He should be able to solve the problem of our blood-killing sect." Another tall youth said, "Look at how polite the other sect masters are to him. He is not on the same level as us. We should be more honest and not cause any trouble. Otherwise, we will not even know how he died." Hearing this, Xueqi Sha was not convinced of Zhao Fu and wanted to see how strong Zhao Fu was. At this moment, Zhao Fu raised his sword finger and pointed it toward the sky. A formless sword intent spread out. Clang, clang, clang. Sword chimes sounded out, and the swords that were piled up in front of him were guided by the sword intent. They flew toward Zhao Fu and revolved around Zhao Fu, forming a vortex of swords. A shocking sword aura spread out and seemed to be able to cut through skin. Blood Azura said in shock, "What a powerful sword intent." The others also revealed shocked expressions. As almighty experts, they knew how powerful this sword intent was. However, they did not expect it to be so powerful. Under Zhao Fu's control, countless swords flew into the sky. They floated in the air with their swords facing downwards, creating a shocking scene. Bang, bang, bang. The blood bottles that were piled up exploded, and a huge amount of fresh blood flew into the sky under Zhao Fu's control, entering the blood swords in the sky. The swords were slowly dyed blood red and gave off a faint blood red sword light. A powerful aura spread out. Countless people from the blood-killing sect looked at the sky in shock. Under this powerful aura, they understood how weak they were and that they were not a match for the person in front of them. Chapter 2684. Book 1. Chapter 1, 29 Clang. A massive sword hum tore through the sky, and a powerful force shot out from Zhao Fu's sword finger. It formed a slender black and blood-red sword light that shot into the sky. The floating blood swords revolved around the black and blood-red sword light. Boom! A deafening rumble rang out as a vast sword intent descended from the depths of the sky. The sky turned blood-red, and the ground seemed to be sealed by the sword intent. The surroundings were bone-chilling cold, and the killing, crazed, and bloody sword intent seeped into everyone's soul, causing them to feel a powerful fear. Xueqian could not help but exclaim in shock. "This sword intent is enough to kill immortals." Azura Shui exclaimed in shock. "I never expected him to possess such a terrifying sword intent." This sword intent is also filled with a killing intent. This killing intent belongs to the supreme killing intent. It can easily suppress the killing intent within our blood-killing sect. Shui Baimei's eyes widened as she looked at Zhao Fu. It seems like his identity is more terrifying than we thought. Many people from the blood-killing sect felt their bodies turn cold, as if they had fallen into a pool of ice water. The killing intent within their bodies was so afraid that it was like a small beast hiding within their bodies, not daring to move. This was the first time they had encountered such a killing intent, and it felt as if it was a heavenly existence. The sword intent that flooded out from the sky was Zhao Fu's celestial murdering sword intent. This sword intent could shake the heaven-awakened world, and it was no exception in the outer world. Countless strands of sword intent fused into the blood-red sword in the sky, causing it to tremble slightly and give off a clear sword hum as a shocking sword energy spread out. At this moment, Zhao Fu pointed his sword down. Clang, 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 clang. The blood-red swords hovering in the air gave off blood-red rays of light as they stabbed into the ground, covering the surrounding tens of thousands of meters. They formed a sword formation, creating a shocking scene. Zhao Fu retracted his energy and returned to the group of sect leaders. Now, you can ask the people of the blood-killing sect to step forward and grab any sword. They will receive a type of sword force, which will form a blood sword that will help the blood-killing sect suppress their killing intent and help them grow. Blood Shura smiled and bowed respectfully to Zhao Fu. Thank you. Zhao Fu nodded. In actuality, Zhao Fu was not completely helping the blood-kill sect this time. He was also helping him strengthen the Emperor-killing sword world. As long as the sword energy formed blood-red swords within their bodies, the blood murder sect's people would continuously grow, and the blood-red swords would absorb a portion of their power and send it into the Emperor-killing sword world. Both sword intent and killing intent would allow the Emperor-killing sword world to grow. The members of the Blood Killer sect stepped forward. Each of them stood in front of a sword and stretched out a hand to grab the blood swords embedded in the ground. The blood-red sword gave off waves of powerful sword energy that flowed into their bodies, forming small blood-red swords. Everyone's killing intent uncontrollably flowed into the blood-red swords. Zhao Fu could also sense that the Emperor-killing sword world had formed a connection with the Blood-kill sect's people. Blood Shura also walked up and grabbed a blood-red sword before giving a satisfied smile. In the future, with this blood-red sword, the Blood-kill sect would be able to peacefully cultivate and would no longer have to worry about losing control of their killing intent, turning them into monsters that only knew how to kill. Just as Blood Ghost wanted to say something to Zhao Fu, Bloodmass sect's Shui Xiao spoke to Zhao Fu passionately. Come and have a look at our Bloodmass sect. We are the weakest out of the 8 sects, and our greatest weakness is that we are weak. I hope that you can use some method to strengthen our Bloodmass sect. Blood Ghost helplessly glanced at Shui Xiao and did not say anything. Zhao Fu nodded and followed Shui Xiao to the Bloodmass sect. Shi Qianhe watched as Zhao Fu walked with the sect masters and could not help but inwardly sigh. Before, he had been friends with Zhao Fu, but now Zhao Fu's status was tens of times higher than his and was almost on the same level as the sect masters. Shi Qianhe felt that he could not be the same as Zhao Fu in the past. Shui Xiao happily called over the Bloodmass sect's countless people and asked Zhao Fu to come and see if there were any methods to increase the Bloodmass sect's strength. Now, with Zhao Fu's help, 4 of the sect had already fixed their weaknesses and increased their own strength. The Bloodmass sect was already the weakest, and if the other sects became even more powerful, the Bloodmass sect would become even weaker. Shui Xiao did not want his sect to become like that. Many of the Bloodmass sect's people stood there respectfully. Some people secretly glanced at Zhao Fu. Seeing the sect masters being so polite to him, they understood that Zhao Fu was an existence that they looked up to. Zhao Fu looked at the Bloodmass sect's people and did not know how to increase the Bloodmass sect's strength. The other sects only had flaws, so they could find ways to fix them. However, the Bloodmass sect did not have any flaws, or the flaw was that it was weak. Zhao Fu felt a headache. Shui Xiao looked at Zhao Fu and his heart sank. How is it? Is it very difficult? Zhao Fu looked at the sky and said, I'll go back and think about it. I'll carefully study your Bloodmass sect and see if there are any other methods. Shui Xiao smiled and said, You don't need to go back. Rest in our Bloodmass sect for a night. I'll send someone to study it for you. Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded and agreed. After Shui Xiao stayed with Zhao Fu, he treated Zhao Fu well and then sent Zhao Fu to a room. Zhao Fu wanted to study the Bloodmass sect's inheritance cultivation method, but someone knocked on the door. There were 10 or so young and beautiful women standing outside the door. At the front were Shi Qian and the other 2 beside him. One was a young and energetic woman called Shui Mo, and the other was a gentle woman called Shui Shui. Seeing this scene, Zhao Fu understood and smiled as he said, Come in. Shui Mo and Shui Shui smiled and led the women into Zhao Fu's room. Half a day later, Zhao Fu was lying there in deep thought. The women next to him were lying on the side with red faces. Shui Shui and Shui Mo were in Zhao Fu's arms. Shui Mo softly asked, "Are you thinking about our blood mass sect?" Zhao Fu nodded. Shui Mo expectantly continued to ask, "Have you thought of a way? Our sect master specially asked us to accompany you to study it." Zhao Fu chose to say, "Through my understanding of you, I found that your blood mass sect is very weak. There is no way to compare to other sections. Your only advantage is that you have a lot of people." Shui Shui coquettishly said, "Do you also look down on my blood mass sect?" Zhao Fu lightly smiled and said, "No, I'm just telling the truth. Your blood mass sect is indeed weak. This is the weakness of your cultivation method. However, it is also this cultivation method that will make your blood mass sect's people stronger." Shui Shui said in pleasant surprise, "Have you thought of a way?" Zhao Fu nodded with a smile. The surrounding women revealed happy smiles. As members of the blood mass sect, they naturally wanted their blood mass sect to become stronger. Shui Mo lightly smiled and said, "We didn't serve you for nothing. From now on, we're all yours." Chapter 2685. Book 1, Chapter 130. The next day, Zhao Fu got up and went to the platform of the Bloody Disciples. Shui Xiao already knew that Zhao Fu had increased the strength of the Bloody Crowd sect. He said with a smile, "Have you thought of a way to solve the problem of our Bloody Crowd sect?" Zhao Fu smiled and nodded as he said, "I've found that the Blood Mass sect has an advantage. There are many of you, and even though your arts are a bit weak, you can unite together and gather your power and other people's power." The Blood Group sect master thought for a moment and said, "In fact, I also know of this method. However, it requires a person with an extremely powerful bloodline as the core in order to gather the power of blood of countless people. An average person simply cannot withstand the power of blood of so many people." Zhao Fu smiled and said, "I should be able to do it." Shui Xiao did not suspect anything and smiled as he said, "Thanks. Today, I'll prepare some beauties to serve you." Zhao Fu said, "There's no need. I have to go somewhere else to settle this." According to Zhao Fu's order, the disciples of the blood sect gathered on the platform and surrounded Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stood in the middle, leaving an empty space. Zhao Fu said with a relaxed expression, "Begin." Many people of the Blood Assembly sect heard this and cut their palms. Blood flowed out from their wounds, and they raised their hands. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, and a formless energy spread out, covering the entire stage. The blood from the countless people's hands flowed toward Zhao Fu and gathered in Zhao Fu's hand, forming an orb of blood. As the blood continued to gather, the ball of blood on Zhao Fu's palm grew larger and larger. 1 meter, 5 meters, 10 meters, dozens of meters. In the end, the orb of blood became 10,000 meters wide and gave off a shocking aura. In front of this orb of blood, everyone seemed incredibly small. By now, everyone had already withdrawn their hands, and the blood no longer gathered toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu raised the 1,000-meter-long hand. Now it was the most important moment. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as a massive bloodline power flowed out from Zhao Fu's body and entered the enormous orb of blood. The orb of blood seemed to burn with a black aura flame, causing wild gales to spread out. Everyone in the surroundings looked quite shocked as they sensed this might that came from the bloodline. Under this might, everyone found it difficult to breathe, and cold sweat covered their backs as they cried out in shock. What grade of bloodline power is this? Shui Xiao also looked shocked as he said, "I feel that Zhao Fu's bloodline is at least saint grade." In actuality, Zhao Fu had suppressed some of his bloodline power to prevent this in order to not to Zhao. The heavens and earth started to change as the light became dim and clouds gathered. The blood-red orb gave off boundless blood-red light, looking quite eye-catching in the dark world, and a terrifying shockwave spread out. Zhao Fu Xiao Heaven. The other sect leaders sensed this terrifying ripple and quickly rushed over, looking incredibly shocked. At that moment, Zhao Fu pushed upwards, causing the massive orb of blood to fly into the sky and stop at a certain height. The massive orb of blood's power continuously gathered, forming a resplendent blood-red crystal at the center, while the rest of the orb became pitch black. Boom! A massive explosion once again sounded out as the enormous orb of blood gave off a terrifying aura, looking like a massive sun in the sky. Under this sun, everyone felt an indescribable might that did not come from their minds but from their bloodlines. Everyone felt incredibly lowly and did not have any thoughts, and their minds were completely blank. Zhao Fu raised his hand and pushed again, causing a massive wave of power to flow into the black sun. A massive explosion sounded out as a blood-red wave of light quickly spread out, instantly sweeping through the entire sect. The people standing under the black sun looked incredibly confused and looked at each other. They could actually sense each other. What was going on? Xue Qian Yu's eyes narrowed as he said, "He's fused the sect's bloodlines into a core." How did he do this? At that moment, Zhao Fu withdrew his hand, and the ripples in the surroundings started to calm down. Xue Xiao and the other sect leaders came to Zhao Fu's side. Zhao Fu gave a happy smile because he had fused the sect leader's bloodline into the first evil immortal's bloodline, greatly increasing it. Looking at the sect leaders who had come to his side, Zhao Fu said, "Right now, the sect leader has a blood-red body. When you fight, you can borrow the blood-red body's power. If your power increases, the blood-red body's power will also increase." Xue Xiao said with a face full of smiles, "We know this. A long time ago, a genius appeared in our blood assembly. He gathered the blood of countless people in the blood assembly. However, after he died, the blood assembly collapsed. The blood assembly used him as its foundation. Back then, our sect leader was at his most powerful, and we defeated many other factions. It was a glorious time." Hearing Xue Xiao's words, Zhao Fu felt that what Xue Xiao said was true. If Zhao Fu died, the blood-red body would also collapse. However, Zhao Fu would not die so easily. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Don't worry, I won't be in trouble." Xue Xiao nodded in understanding. He knew how powerful Zhao Fu was. He could not wait and ordered some of his sect leaders to unleash this power. The sect leaders started to use this power, and their bodies immediately ignited with black blood-red flames, giving off powerful auras. Sensing this power, everyone smiled. This power was more powerful than they had expected. It was more than twice their previous power, and some people with stronger bloodlines had their power increased by many times. Some top-tier bloodlines had their power increased by more than 10 times. Xue Xiao also revealed a satisfied smile. The other sect leaders could not help but feel envious. However, they could not do the same as the Blood Crowd sect because the cultivation method of the Blood Crowd sect was able to condense into a bloody amalgamation. The cultivation methods of the other sects were different from theirs and could not be merged into a bloody amalgamation. The fierce Blood Bell pulled Zhao Fu to the side and said, "Let's go to my Blood Beast sect to take a look." The Blood Tool sect leader, Shui Gui, had a helpless look on his face. Someone else had beaten him to it again. Now that the weaknesses of the Blood Succubus, Blood Martial Gate, Blood Killing Gate, Blood Crowd Gate, and Blood Poison Gate had been resolved, only the Blood Beast Gate, Blood Ghost Gate, and Blood Immortal Gate were left. When Zhao Fu arrived at the Blood Beast sect, the first thing he saw was the Blood Hidden Dragon. Xue Falong looked embarrassed. He was not as arrogant as before. He had not expected things to turn out like this. Before, they were of the same generation. Now, Zhao Fu's seniority was much higher than his. Facing Zhao Fu's gaze, Xue Hidden Dragon bowed obediently. He could only hope that Zhao Fu wouldn't hold it against him. Otherwise, he would be in deep trouble. Chapter 2686. Book 1, Chapter 131. Blood Beast Sect. Zhao Fu lightly laughed and did not mind what had happened before as he asked, "What flaws does your Blood Beast sect have?" The Blood Murderous Bell called over a few people. One had cat ears, blood-red hair. and a pretty face. One had a pair of bull horns, blood-red hair, and a voluptuous figure. One had a pair of leopard claws and a tail. One had a pair of snake eyes and a bewitching figure. And one had 3 foxtails and an alluring figure. If it wasn't for the fact that these 5 people were roaring like wild beasts with their emotionless and ferocious gazes, Zhao Fu would have thought that the blood murderous bell had told them to serve him. The blood murderous bell said, "When there are problems with our blood beast sex cultivation, we turn into wild beasts. Not only do our bodies become wild beasts, but our minds also become wild beasts. I know you like women, so they're yours." Zhao Fu hugged the blood murderous bell and smiled as he said, "Let's do some research then." The blood murderous bell agreed. All right. A few hours later, the women's faces were red and their minds had returned to normal, and they lay down next to Zhao Fu. The blood murderous bell's face was red, and it smiled as it said, "I'm sure you found a solution, right?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, It's quite simple for me. I just need to suppress their bestial nature." When cultivating, the blood beast sect had to fuse with a wild beast bloodline. If they weren't careful, their bodies would go through mutations and become like this. In actuality, if it wasn't for the fact that their minds had also become wild beasts, they would be like the Heaven Awakened World's Outlanders, and Zhao Fu would be quite interested. The blood murderous bell said, "I want you to not only suppress their bestial nature, but also increase our blood beast sex strength. We can't be weaker than the other sex." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Your requirements are quite high." The blood murderous bell lightly harumphed. "Of course, I've already given myself to you, so my requirements are definitely higher than others." Zhao Fu smiled and said, "I promise you." The other women's faces were red as they lay by the side, looking at the high and mighty sect leader. They leaned into the man's embrace and chatted. Although they had just regained consciousness and were not clear about Zhao Fu's identity, they knew that Zhao Fu's background was extremely terrifying. Even the sect leader was personally serving her. One had to know that this was the sect leader, a person who stood above tens of thousands of people, a supreme being. The murderous blood bell asked curiously, "What do you have in mind?" Zhao Fu said, "I have a type of demon star power that can suppress the bestial nature in your bodies and strengthen the strength of your blood beast sect." The murderous blood bell asked curiously, "The power of the demon star?" Seeing her puzzled look, Zhao Fu smiled and asked, "What's wrong? Is it strange?" The murderous blood bell nodded. "I've never heard of fiend star. There are no such stars in the primal chaos world. How did you get one?" Zhao Fu looked quite awkward. The demon star power he was talking about was the supreme emperor star of the devil race in the Heaven Awakened world, and there was no devil race in the primal chaos world. Facing the murderous blood bell's gaze, Zhao Fu did not know how to reply. The murderous blood bell looked at Zhao Fu and said, "I won't ask anymore. As long as you can help me deal with the blood beast sex matters, I'll pay you back." Zhao Fu laughed as he hugged the murderous blood bell. The murderous blood bell continued to ask, "What do you want me to prepare for you?" Zhao Fu thought about it and said, "If you can obtain a falling star, I'll be able to raise the blood beast sex power to its peak." The murderous blood bell asked, "What do you want a star for?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I want to create a blood beast star that belongs to your blood beast sect. That way, not only can it suppress the bestial nature in your bodies, but it can also increase your power and even have fate to protect your sect." The murderous blood bell looked shocked as she asked, "Can you really do that?" Stars were born in the boundless starry sky and contained powerful starry power. They had different attributes and a huge amount of fate. However, most stars were ownerless, and most of them were not very strong. Sometimes, they would fall from the boundless starry sky and fall to the ground. Some stars were exclusive stars, such as general stars and emperor stars. They could affect the fate of a person or even a country. The murderous blood bell had never heard of anyone being able to create an exclusive star. This ability shocked even someone with her cultivation. In actuality, it was different from what the murderous blood bell thought. Zhao Fu had the support of 8 emperor stars, so he controlled a vast amount of starry power. However, Zhao Fu could not directly create a star. Zhao Fu wanted to create a fake star, so he needed a falling star. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. The murderous blood belle happily got up, put on her clothes, and left. Falling stars were rare materials and had different uses. The murderous blood belle could not collect any, so she could only ask the other sect leaders for help. After hearing about this, the other sect leaders were also quite shocked. They quickly helped Zhao Fu obtain a falling star, wanting to see how Zhao Fu would create an exclusive star. The situation was similar to the Blood Beast sect. Zhao Fu gathered all of the Blood Beast sect's people together while he stood in the center. Next to him was a silver orb that was dozens of meters wide. This was the star that he had collected. A star that fell from the boundless starry sky was called a Death Star. It was a dead star that was filled with a deathly aura and did not have any vitality at all. It was like a corpse. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and pressed it against the star. A massive wave of star power flowed into the star, causing it to give off a faint silver light and slowly float up from the ground. The sect leaders looked quite confused. Even though it looked quite simple, they could not do it. This required an extremely powerful fate star to do so. Seeing how relaxed Zhao Fu was, the star that he had most likely surpassed countless ordinary stars. The star slowly floated into the sky and gave off a massive suction force. The Blood Beast sect's people on the ground immediately cut their arms, and countless amounts of blood flew towards the star and entered it. The silver star quickly became blood red, but it was still filled with deathly aura and did not have any vitality. Zhao Fu placed his hands in front of him and formed a triangle with his palms. Countless traces of star power flowed out from Zhao Fu's hands and condensed into a small purple orb in Zhao Fu's palms. Within it was a dragon that seemed to be alive. Seeing this orb, Xue Qianyu said in confusion, "Dragon star? Does our primordial world have a dragon star like this?" Blood Shura replied seriously, "The primordial dragon race has a dragon star, but its power and aura are different from this dragon star. This violet dragon star is much more powerful, and I don't know what kind of dragon star it is." Chapter 2687. Book 1, Chapter 132. End of Book 1. Swish. An air-tearing sound sounded out as the violet orb between Zhao Fu's palms turned into a violet ray of light and shot into the blood-red star in the sky. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the blood-red star gave off boundless blood-red light that covered the sky, causing it to become blood-red. The blood-red aura, which had been filled with a deathly aura, started to give birth to traces of life. Countless members of the Blood Beast sect emitted a blood-colored aura. This was the fate of each and every one of them. Countless amounts of blood-colored fate flowed towards the blood-colored star in the sky like a tidal wave, constantly entering the blood-colored star. The blood-red star's life force became more and more abundant, and the aura it gave off became more and more powerful. An hour later, the blood-red star in the sky gave off a powerful aura, and it looked just like any other star. No one would think that it was a dead star anymore. Many of the Blood Beast sect's disciples also felt the connection between them and the star. Boom! An explosion sounded out as the blood-red star gave off a blood-red wave of light, bringing with it a massive amount of star power that quickly swept through the countless Blood Beast sect's members. The Blood Beast sect's members' bodies trembled as countless traces of blood-red aura uncontrollably rose up from their bodies. The aura condensed into different shapes. There were cows, snakes, tigers, horses, lions, dogs, pigs, sheep. The ferocious aura of hundreds of beasts spread out, and everyone felt as if they were facing 100 ferocious beasts, causing them to feel fear. Many of the Blood Beast sect's members sensed the changes in their bodies and smiled. Zhao Fu retracted his hand, and the blood-red star calmed down and floated in the sky. Even though it looked like a real star, it was only a fake one that Zhao Fu had created. If it was possible to create a real star from nothingness, one would have to become the ruler of the stars to be able to do so. Zhao Fu walked in front of the Blood Fiend Bell and smiled as he said, Are you satisfied now? The blood fiend Bell nodded in satisfaction and ignored everyone else's gazes as it hugged Zhao Fu and said, I'll repay you properly tonight. Everyone else's expressions did not change. They already knew about Zhao Fu's relationship with them. Xue Xiao sensed the blood-red star's power. It not only strengthened the blood beast sex power, but also gave the blood beast sex members fate protection. This was simply too enticing, and Xue Xiao also wanted the blood beast sex on star. He smiled as he said, Sir, can you create a blood-red star for the blood beast sect? Xue Wuzong also said expectantly, Our blood martial sect also wants a scarlet star, no matter the price. With our relationship, I can have a blood-red star as well. I can't create a blood-red star as well, and I can't. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, That might not be possible. The blood beast sex art is related to beasts, and the star I have is related to beasts. That's why I was able to create the 100-beast blood star. This was true. Zhao Fu could not create another blood-red star, as he needed other people's power. Zhao Fu had 8 supreme emperor stars, but he did not seem to have the same attributes as the others. Of course, even if Zhao Fu could create one, he wouldn't because that would expose Zhao Fu's identity. Hearing this, everyone was disappointed. The murderous blood bell smile became even brighter. The Blood Tool sect master, Xue Gui, did not want others to beat him to it, so he immediately spoke up. Please come to my Blood Tool sect. I also have something that I need you to solve. Zhao Fu replied with a smile. What flaws does your Blood Tool sect have? Blood Ghost said, My Blood Tool sect can use blood to create all kinds of blood tools, but consumes a lot of mental energy. Moreover, our strength is relatively weak. I think you can help solve the problem of the Blood Tool sect's mental energy. Zhao Fu thought for a moment. I'll go there to take a look first. Following this, Zhao Fu and the other sect masters went to the Blood Tool sect. The Blood Tool sect had heard that Zhao Fu had solved the Blood Beast sect's problem, and that Zhao Fu had come to their Blood Tool sect. All of them gave excited smiles and looked at Zhao Fu with admiration and respect. Xue Gui called out, Bai Qi, show us the Blood Tool sect's power. Xue Bai Qi looked quite awkward. Luckily, he had not offended Zhao Fu when he had tried to persuade him. Now that he could show off his power in front of Zhao Fu, it was a good opportunity. Xue Bai Qi walked in front of Zhao Fu's group and stretched out a hand, forming a sword with his fingers in front of his chest. A massive wave of blood-red qi flowed out of Xue Bai Qi's body and continuously condensed into different weapons. There were sabers, swords, axes, spears. Zhao Fu said, Attack with your full power, and I'll give it a try. Xue Bai Qi did not dare to do this and looked at his sect master. Xue Gui nodded. Xue Bai Qi pointed his sword in front of his chest at Zhao Fu, causing blood-red ripples to spread out. The weapons around him brought with them immense power as they shot toward Zhao Fu, leaving behind blood-red traces of light. Zhao Fu only stretched out a hand, which gave off a blood-red light as a massive wave of blood-red power spread out. Bang! 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 The blood-red weapons were blocked by a formless energy and stopped in mid-air, unable to advance an inch. Xue Bai Qi vigorously pointed his sword forwards and controlled the blood-red weapons to give off immense power, wanting to break through Zhao Fu's defenses. Zhao Fu looked at Xue Bai Qi and sent a powerful mental attack towards Xue Bai Qi. The blood-red weapons turned into countless traces of blood-red qi and dissipated. Xue Bai Qi's body trembled as his head was hit by a massive force, causing him to go blank. The Blood Tool sect's people were all shocked. The Blood Tool sect's most powerful Xue Bai Qi has been defeated so easily. The sect master's expressions did not change. They had long since expected this. Xue Gui asked, How is it? Zhao Fu thought about it and said, It's actually quite simple. I have a type of power that can increase mental power and give the blood-red weapon spirituality, increasing the Blood Tool sect's power. Xue Gui said happily, Thank you very much. Zhao Fu came to a stone stage that was hundreds of meters tall. This time, Zhao Fu planned to use the spirit race's power. The spirit race could naturally sense spirit chi and had powerful spirituality. Zhao Fu only needed to give the Blood Tool sex people a bit of spirituality to increase their power and mental power. Boom! Zhao Fu pressed a hand on the center of the stage, and a powerful wave of spirit energy spread out, forming a massive magic formation. Heaven and earth power flooded out and entered the magic formation, causing it to give off a massive power. Whoosh! The magic formation gave off a powerful suction force, and the surrounding power of heaven and earth surged over like a tidal wave, pouring into the magic formation. The sect masters once again looked shocked. They felt that Zhao Fu's control over the heavens and earth was even greater than theirs, and he could directly transform into the heavens and earth. Apex. Chapter 2688. Book 1. Chapter 133 translated by Hypersheep 325 edited by Mike. Here before, it was said that the spirit race's Emperor Star's power was useful in any world because all creatures had spirits. Zhao Fu did not use the spirit race's Emperor Star's power, and instead used his own spirit energy to gather the outer world's power. Zhao Fu had a powerful spirit body, so he had great control over the heavens and earth there. As massive amounts of power flowed into the magic formation, the magic formation condensed 12 rhombus-shaped crystals that floated in the air and gave off different colored lights. The 12 rhombus-shaped crystals represented different attributes: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, yin, yang, wind, lightning, ice, space, and time. After condensing the 12 rhombus-shaped crystals, Zhao Fu stopped and left the center of the magic formation as he said, "It's done now." Shuegue looked quite surprised. "It's that simple." Zhao Fu nodded. "I told you that it was quite simple. Send someone in, and you'll obtain a type of spirit energy. This spirit energy is heaven and earth spirit energy and can solve your problems." Shuegue smiled and nodded, and he had Shui Baiki enter. After Shui Baiki entered, the massive magic formation started to activate and heaven and earth power flowed in. The 12 crystals gave off resplendent light as a massive wave of heaven and earth power flowed into Shui Baiki's body, causing his body to be covered with spirit energy. A while later, the spirit energy dissipated and Shui Baiki's aura greatly changed. His bloody aura became much weaker, and his body seemed to have a trace of spirituality. Shui Gue smiled as he said, "Baiki, show off your power again." Shui Baiki smiled and nodded. This spirit energy fused with his bloodline energy, and he wanted to see how much stronger he had become. Zhao Fu once again placed the sword in front of his chest, and a massive wave of blood-red qi flowed out. Weapons once again formed and floated around Shui Baiki's body. This time was different. The weapons all had powerful spirituality and seemed to be alive as they flew around Shui Baiki. Shui Gue gave a satisfied smile and bowed to Zhao Fu, saying, "Thank you, sir." Zhao Fu lightly nodded. Shueqin, you looked at Zhao Fu. Now, there was only the Blood Immortal sect. The problems of the other sects had been solved by Zhao Fu. Looking at the changes of the other sects, Shueqin, you was also very excited. "You should come to my place and take a look." Zhao Fu nodded. All right. Finally, Zhao Fu went to the Blood Immortal sect. The Blood Immortal sect was the most powerful sect in the Blood Elder sect. Everyone in the sect was very strong, but they also had the least people. Zhao Fu looked at the people from the Blood Immortal sect. They all emanated the power of a Blood Immortal. Their faces were cold, and they seemed very powerful. Zhao Fu said doubtfully, "Your Blood Immortal sect is very powerful. I don't feel any flaws." Shueqin, you said, "As the strongest sect, my Blood Immortal sect naturally has no flaws. However, all the other sects have received great enhancements. I think you should have the ability to strengthen the Blood Immortal sect." Zhao Fu said with a smile. "Are you that confident?" Shueqin, you said with a smile. "I believe in your abilities." Zhao Fu lightly laughed and said, I indeed have a type of immortal chi that can strengthen your blood immortal sect. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand, and a strand of white-colored aura floated out from Zhao Fu's palm, gently swaying and changing. Although the white-colored aura looked very ordinary, the sect leaders were all shocked. Xue Qianyu directly shouted, "You're someone from the immortal realm?" This was because the strand of immortal chi that Zhao Fu emitted was extremely pure. It contained a power that surpassed the laws of this world, causing them to feel extremely shocked. Zhao Fu lightly laughed and did not reply to Xue Qianyu's question. Zhao Fu purposely made it so that Xue Qianyu would not be able to guess his identity, and said, "That's not important. Even though my immortal chi has a different attribute from your blood immortal sex, it can be converted into attributes to increase your power." Xue Qianyu and the others felt that Zhao Fu had already admitted that he was from the celestial realm, so they could not help but become even more respectful. If Zhao Fu was from the celestial realm, then his terrifying power and abilities could be explained. After all, they were not on the same level. Xue Qianyu followed Zhao Fu's instructions and collected countless corpses. There were corpses of insects, primal chaos people, and birds. There were many of them, and they covered the surrounding tens of thousands of meters, giving off a dense, bloody smell. Zhao Fu walked over to a corpse that was thousands of meters long and looked like a cow. It was completely green and had 2 pairs of horns. This was an Emperor Heaven Realm insect, and Zhao Fu had asked Xue Qianyu to prepare it for him. The sect masters stood in the air, waiting to see what Zhao Fu would do. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand and pressed it against the cow's forehead. A massive wave of pure, celestial chi flowed out from Zhao Fu's palm and entered the cow's body. The cow's body gave off a faint white light, and a massive might covered the surroundings. Under Zhao Fu's control, the cow's corpse continuously melted and turned into a massive green ball of flesh. Zhao Fu sent some of his power into it, causing the ball of flesh to burn with a white aura flame. Countless impurities rose up, and the ball of flesh gradually shrank until it was only 100 meters wide. Under Zhao Fu's control, the ball of flesh turned into a square green steel that stood among the countless corpses. It gave off boundless green light and a powerful celestial might, causing the heavens and earth to dim and clouds to swirl. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu sent some more celestial power into it. Many white celestial runes appeared on the corpse steel, and a white wave of light quickly spread out, covering all of the corpses. The blood flowing out of the corpses formed streams of water that gathered towards the corpse steel, and the corpse steel absorbed the blood. Zhao Fu withdrew his hand and came before Xue Qianyu as he said, "The corpse steel's transformation will take some time." Xue Qianyu smiled and nodded as he said, "It's all right. Thank you for this time. It's almost time for the sect trial, so you should make some preparations and see if you can obtain the legacies of the other 7 sects. If you can become the sect master of the sect, I'll be very happy." The blood-venomous woman lightly laughed as she said, "I'm also looking forward to you becoming the sect master." Xue Xiao gave a fawning smile as he said, "I won't object. Under your leadership, the sect will definitely become even better than before. I completely trust you." The blood-venomous woman lightly laughed as she said, "I'm also very happy to see my man become the sect master. Don't disappoint me." Right now, the blood-venomous woman was a great benefactor to the sect master. Not only did the disciples like and respect Zhao Fu, but the 8 sect masters also supported him. Most importantly, Zhao Fu's identity was extremely terrifying, and his strength was also frighteningly great. Under such a person's leadership, no one had any objections. At this moment, it could be said that Zhao Fu becoming the sect master was something that everyone expected. If Zhao Fu did not become the sect master, it would be strange. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.